Yay!
Sweet.
Hello, everyone, and welcome back to our live stream coverage of the Bumblebees. How is everyone doing today?
Oh, well, it's a new day, a new time to smash some bugs.
I'm excited.
Yeah.
I love how there was.
Hey, listen. We are starting the year strong. We're just starting the year strong with a bunch of fumigations. Okay.
Yeah, there was a lot of energy in this chat room, and then just all of a sudden, like as soon as I get like the opening thing, it's like it takes a minute for people to actually say anything. Like where'd the energy go? What? Yes, but
it's all the nerves.
No, it's because we don't want to talk over each other.
That's true. That's fair.
Yeah, there's four of us, so it gets a little bit chaotic. Sometimes we accidentally talk over each other. It's gonna happen.
It's a thing.
And all four of us are the type of person to be like, oh my god, I'm so sorry. I didn't mean to do that.
Well, I don't know. Kaiser,
Well,
I don't know if that's really
what
his
do you
fault, though.
mean?
That was sometimes a
always
lag.
apologize. Well, yes, that's fair. But I did
gotta
apologize anyway.
Yeah, we gotta recalibrate his apology programming.
But yes,
oh, buddy, people already hate me enough for being so confident. I don't need that on my life, okay?
Are you ready for me to throw money at you? Jesus Christ, Adam Seal! Out of the gate!
Oh my god!
Madman!
I love this energy.
I am all for this energy. So yes, to remind everyone what we're here doing today, I have assembled a supercut, or should I say 3 separate supercuts, because Jesus Christ, this show can get long, of all the interactions shared between Blake and Yang throughout the entirety of RWBY. That includes, this is where people will probably get on my case about, you didn't need to include that scene. Well, this includes moments where they could potentially be thinking about one another, which I had to use some... I gave the benefit of the doubt because I guarantee you there's going to be someone out there that's like, what about this random scene where Yang is sweeping the steps? It's like she's totally thinking about Blake, and I'm including it because then we can say it's clear she's not thinking about Blake in this scene. because we're going to get those comments.
Listen,
We are.
And this is supposed to be thorough.
Listen, Sun Tzu says, "Know thy enemy." Okay, we got train our brains into mental gymnastics territory.
Also, we are going to have to be careful about this
all day, every day,
because the last stream did get copyright claimed. In fact, it got copyright claimed in the middle of the stream. That's the first that ever happened to me. So where we actually got shut down for like 30 seconds until we weren't streaming copyrighted material again. That's why, unfortunately, I have to leave the screen blocker up. But
I feel like we're almost through the reads with it. I think once you get through Volume 3, the copyright doesn't get as bad for the Maya engine. Also, I feel like from this point on, it's going to be much more interesting moments between Blake and Yang overall.
Oh, there is one in particular in Volume 3 that I'm thinking of. That I have a lot.
Yes.
Well, no, because once we hit Volume 6, then they're actively trying to ship the two. And we'll get to our thoughts on that once we hit Volume 6. But I imagine we'll probably have conversation about that as we go along. Anyway, are you all ready for us to jump right into this?
I am so ready.
All right. Let's hope that this does not glitch out on us and actually plays properly.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, I'll have to have this. So here we go. This is the opening fight scene of Volume 3. And we have a clear example of at least cooperative teamwork, which breaks the laws of physics. But what do we all think of this scene? What are we feeling about in terms of the bees?
I think it's a good example, not necessarily anything about their relationship, but it does show that they do work well together because of their weapon choices.
I would agree.
Yeah. I think it's a perfectly serviceable moment of teamwork and cooperation. Also, Dragon Ball Z, God, I love that name. Gonna include how much Black Sun moments there are. Sadly, that didn't, it occurred to me once I got to editing through Volume 6, and by that point, I didn't want to go back through all of the fucking volumes looking for all the Black Sun moments. There are some that I can at least point out, because I remember a couple in Volume 3 that were very overt compared to anything Bumblebee related. How long did I keep this picture? Yeah, they're in the same scene together. You see, this is why I included it.
Yep.
Oh yeah.
We did it?
And hey, at least they're actively looking at each other this time.
Yeah.
Why? How did she get over there so fast?
Yeah, that's a very good question. How did?
Wait, I thought that was you. Oh, I thought that was Celtic's cut.
No, that wasn't. That was almost completely straight from the show.
My God. Okay, you don't know how many times I had to skip over this fight over the course of making videos for this shit, dude. I had no idea.
It's such a rough fight when you actually break it down. It's
I'm sure Fat Man had a blast just picking it apart for his video way back in the day.
Oh, he did. I remember like he went through like why everything just didn't work, where like people were literally like, wait, why are you over here alone with no one guarding your back? Like RWBY was laying down on the ground with her sniper rifle out. It's like, why are you doing that in the middle of the battlefield? Like, that's really dumb. Like, really painfully dumb.
And like, I get that for animation, you're not going to have the characters doing animation off screen where the camera isn't on them, but you should have a mental idea of what's going on. And if a character is on screen, then they should be doing something, not just standing there.
I think there was actually, Yang was like A-posing in the background at one point. Was it Yang or was it Bolin? I want to say his name was the guy with the staff. I think he was A-posing.
Default pose man.
Default pose
yeah,
man.
when
That's right. It was default pose man.
Default pose.
That's what Fat Man ended up calling him.
Yep.
I think two of them were default posing when they put in the ice ball.
Yep.
God, some shortcuts.
Yeah.
There's cutting corners, and then there's just getting rid of half of everything.
Yep.
Oh yeah.
Also, holy fuck, Blake, your stomach must be a black hole. I mean,
there is
for your coloration.
Yeah, I know y'all were just in a fight, but golly.
There is a monster in there because Beauty and the Beast.
No.
Ah, see?
I was being facetious. Well, if you were hungry, why didn't you say so?
God, I love that interaction. If you were hungry, why didn't you say so, RWBY? See, that's
Well,
where
Little stutter definitely sells it too.
Like
I love that.
Yeah, that's where like the Brussels and muscles joke like that didn't land me because that's a very common like number of phrases. Though again, it does raise the question of the presence of Brussels in this world. But anyway, but like the idea of facetious, which is it's kind of a more like extra vocabulary word. That's like I don't want to say higher education. That's probably like a high school level word. But I could see RWBY like having missed her vocabulary in like the 2 years that she skipped. So she's
well,
yeah.
I don't know. Like I had quite the extensive vocabulary as a kid, so I bet I can't be a fair judge of that. But I just want to say, like, she's giving off too much Gowry vibes for me.
I think remove the Brussels joke, this one stands out stronger. It's like okay, that's a moment of RWBY being a little dumb.
I know just the place.
Yep.
So, yep.
You mentioned that there's not any Black Sun moments, but don't worry, Celtic did grab every single White Rose moment he can.
Oh yes.
I look, when the team is together, 100%. It just happens.
Uh-huh.
Uh-huh. Sure, buddy.
Yeah, all right, buddy.
Good to see you, RWBY.
Oh, thanks, Emerald.
Oh god, that exchange was really weirdly awkward. Like she, I'm panicking about my wallet. Like, oh no, it's gone. Like, why were you panicking if you can see she's holding it out to you?
Yeah.
It's like, and then
Volume
also
3's a little weird.
at stilted, like, oh, thanks, Emerald. Like, you're seeing her for the first time that day. Like, the delivery was off there.
Guess I dropped it. Girl pockets are the worst.
It's very off, especially on Emerald's end.
You have a skirt with pockets. Be happy.
Just left the stadium after watching an amazing fight. You guys were awesome.
I mean, that joke was only really funny in Doctor Who.
Oh, that was from Doctor Who?
Yeah, there was a whole special with Donna Noble because she was in a wedding dress and she didn't have pockets.
Right. So what are we feeling about this scene?
Never knew that.
We haven't really talked about it, but them at the fair, they're hanging out, I guess.
They sure do exist in the same space together.
And they're barely talking to each other, so
they're not even looking in the same direction.
Well, they're looking in the same direction. They're just not looking in the Blake is just dead-eyed right now because nobody animated her properly.
I get the idea. Like, the fight was, like, reminding the audience of their action skills, and this scene is supposed to be reminding the audience of, like, their personalities. It's just a weird way of going about it, though.
Also, this is a weird scene because it's like, okay, several questions. One, Mercury, why are you sniffing a boot that's been just from a merchant stand? I mean, I guess you could be smelling the leather, but you're like smelling it as if there's something inside it that's going to change. And two, why does his reaction indicate that there's some kind of funk going on? Has someone been wearing these boots at this stall that they're selling?
I think we should just not question that and not give Dedorex any material to draw.
Oh,
it's supposed to just be a thing to emphasize that he's weird. You don't think about it. Shut up. There's nothing behind the curtains. It's just a joke.
Yeah,
don't think about
Josh, do not go there. Do not go there, Josh.
Oh.
All right.
Hey, Ricky, okay,
you didn't have to say it out loud.
To be fair, I was thinking the exact same thing. I just thought it'd be too easy.
Ooh, yeah.
I could see that.
So yeah, looks like Merc and I are going to be moving on to the
Yay.
round. What about you guys?
Well, as the leader of this team, I thought long and hard about this decision. We put it to a vote. Yes, but I decided...
Why does Ruby's face there when she has that expression look wrong? Like, it kind of reminds me of Jeff the Killer with her eyes open like that.
I think a thing they did was they added shading to their, like, eye sockets, like their sclera, and at certain angles it looks a little creepy.
Decided that we should put it to a vote.
We voted for Weiss and Yang.
I will happily represent Team RWBY.
Blake voted for Yang because she's so in love with her.
This is true. Or she voted for Weiss because she's so in love with her instead.
Oh no! The cuckolding arc has begun.
Drama!
Yeah, we're gonna kick some butt.
Well, if Mercury and I see you down the line, don't think we'll go easy on you.
Wouldn't have it any other way.
I'm glad that these characters have such deep relationships with one another that we've not seen any of.
Is this the first time that they've met each other?
Yes. Yeah.
The only one that has ever actually met them and talked to them was RWBY, who welcomed them.
She said, "Hey, your friend's pretty good," and then Emerald gave her a wry smile, and then when RWBY turned away, she rolled her eyes in annoyance.
Yeah.
And I was like, I want more of that, please.
but also, like, that irritates me because, like, Emerald, do you think that no one else can see you? Like, I understand that you could easily roll it off as just an annoyed student. That's fine. But, like, don't you think that's taking some risks if you're trying to befriend them, if you're trying to get in good with them, trying to make yourself, like, endear yourself? You don't want anyone being like, hey, yeah, that Emerald chick's kind of being an asshole behind your back. Like,
alternatively, Weiss also started out as an asshole. Anything could happen.
True.
Yeah, if they're willing to just, you know, like, shoo away racism, then everything's all good.
They're on screen. 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 This is literally what I did. By the way, that was my process. That was literally my entire process throughout it. They're on screen. They're on screen. No, they're not. There they are. They're on screen. And look.
Yeah.
They're not even sitting anywhere near each other now. How interesting is that?
Yeah.
They've actually been separated this whole time.
Yeah.
In the same positions, too. Or in similar positions, anyway.
That's such an issue. How can you say that they're in love if they're not standing next to each other at all fucking times?
I mean,
because it's subtle. Twilight is subtlety.
No, the reason why they did it the way they did is they didn't want to constantly force the pairs together. Like, which I understand. Like, you don't want to force the team pairs together all the time. Despite the fact they keep doing it with RWBY and Weiss.
Yeah, because, like, nowadays, people get annoyed when Blake and Yang are constantly standing next to each other and doing literally everything right next to each other.
That smear frame.
That smear frame's great.
Old man, most
Also,
OP.
I'm gonna add that to the White Rose swear jar. Thank you.
Well, I don't know if that counts. I wasn't using that as a positive or a negative. I'm just being like, it's kind of just weird that crops up. Like the way they try to do it, but then end up failing while they're doing it. I was just trying to make a point of that. I would not count that.
Fair enough.
Also, wow, I'm glad that Blake gets to be the one with special order.
I also do actually like how it's implied that she goes to this guy for his food very frequently.
Yeah.
All she had to do is nod to him.
Yep.
Yeah, it's a nice little bit of comedic world building. It's great.
Yeah, like there are some times that RWBY has good environmental writing in it. It's just so few and far between.
Weiss, what are you doing with your hand?
And most of it isn't funny.
She's don't ask.
Oh.
She's pulling her credit card out of the negative space in her sleeve.
While we're on this topic, I just
and breaking her wrist.
While we're in this scene, something that was raised in the Tundra the other day that was discussed about in terms of RWBY, which is if fondness were real, would the portrayal of Blake be counted as racist?
I'm gonna say no, because it's never implied that way in the show.
Well, no, it kind of is. Because RWBY has that offhanded comment, which honestly could be a pretty awful comment when you think about it, which is like, she does really like fish. That line is like, huh, that's weird. Why would you automatically assume that a cat faunus would love fish? That seems like a strange. Because I like the idea is like maybe it is racist, but maybe the people do fall into the stereotypes. It happens. There's plenty of white people out there that love cheese. Like
hell yeah. Yes.
So like there is a reason why even the most awful stereotypes come from somewhere. Not the most logical of places, but they originate somewhere. Well, and the more common stereotypes come for a reason.
It's just when you blanket statement everyone to have that same thing that makes it racist.
Yeah, so like the idea is like Blake being such a racial activist, you know, former White Fang, still very much pro faunus. It'd be interesting to see her kind of struggle with the, oh my god, am I a stereotype question? like her being like having the begrudging like, man, I really love fish. Like, god damn it. It's like my favorite food.
Wait a minute, Celtic. Here's the real question. Would that count as just racism, or does it count as homophobia? Curious.
Jesus Christ.
There was an episode of Curb Your Enthusiasm with Larry David where he like talked about this. Like he went to the grocery store with his friend Leon, and Leon felt embarrassed because he wanted to buy watermelon, but he felt like that was stereotypical. And they had like a whole conversation about it. You should look at it. You should find that scene on YouTube and check it out sometime if you can.
You know it's really funny because I'm not
my brother like last year.
Sorry, go ahead.
No, I was just saying that I think I saw that same episode with my brother last year. I don't think we watched the whole thing all the way through, but that was funny.
It's a good one.
I was gonna say, what's really funny is it wasn't until a couple of years ago that I knew about the watermelon thing because I'm not American.
Oh.
Oh yeah,
you're
is
from
very
Moose
much an
country.
American stereotype.
Yeah.
Which I mean makes sense considering like the origins of it. I think is down in like Louisiana, the Louisiana area. I think because they would grow watermelon down there, and like that was a very, and I think also because, oh no, it actually does I think date back to slavery, because watermelon is a very efficient fruit for hydration and feeding people. It'd be very good like en masse feeding people with it. So it might actually
be plantations and shit.
It hasn't even been a thing for like 150 years.
Well, yeah, but I'm just saying like that's where the stereotype just originated from, and it just stuck.
I learned so much racism from you guys.
Stick around. You learn so much more. We're experts.
Listen, the real race.
The real racists were the friends we made along
the way.
All right.
That's the real lesson, ladies and gentlemen.
Thanks for sending me to the doubles round.
Jesus Christ. How hard is that card?
What? How can my card be declined?
It's made of dust.
Also, I like that to point out, this is totally racism because Blake is the one that gets her food taken away.
Well, she's the only one that's trying to take the food and run.
Twy, how dare you imply that just by her pulling the bowl towards herself? That's very racist of you.
I didn't see RWBY try and take her food. Or Yang.
I mean, there was the implication that the others were going to all pay for themselves. So it's like it's so weird.
Why was it Blake was the one who was trying to like sneak off with her food?
That's a good question. Why was she? Like,
girl gotta eat.
Your fish comment made chat hungry. Is chat hungry now? Can we?
You should bake chat cookies.
Oh man, dude, you have no idea. Like I as a pastime, I bake. I like bake and I cook. I don't really do it very super frequently these days, but I like to. Like I made dinner rolls for Christmas dinner. I made the cake, and I also then for Christmas morning breakfast or brunch, I made Belgian waffles.
Nice.
And it's good stuff. It's fun. It's fun to do that kind of stuff. I would love to be able to, like, for all the sketchies, make like a batch of cookies and send like 4 or 5 out to every single sketchy Huntsman. But I have no idea how I would even go about doing that.
You'd have to get all of our addresses.
Yeah, I do not feel comfortable having that knowledge.
Well, not only that, but you'd have to like express ship it to, because some of us live in like the Philippines and Singapore and all that kind of stuff.
Oh my god! Now you just reminded me. I need my artist for the Artificer Quill still has not gotten the signed copy of my book, and I sent that shit out in September.
Oh really?
It has been in Japan since September 30th and has not moved since. That is the last place it was checked. I don't know where it is.
Well,
haven't they been having a shipping problem recently? Like, isn't there... I heard something, like there was a problem with shipments coming from or through Japan because maybe something strike-related? I don't remember for sure, though.
Well, I mean, obviously they just had the earthquake, so that's probably not helping anything.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
But I would just like to think that the customs guy just is reading your book and enjoying it.
Yeah.
Do it for the inevitable sketchy
by the
meetup.
way, anyone who's from Japan that are watching this, hope y'all are safe.
Yes.
Yeah.
If there's anybody out there who's from Japan or knows anybody in Japan.
Japan ga daisuki desu. Anyway, let's continue.
Have to, but she could.
That delivery. Okay. That's
really whisper for those fish noodles.
Yeah,
that was good.
But she could immediately.
You all earned it after that battle.
So it's all confirmed. Everyone on Team RWBY is thirsting after Pyrrha in this scene.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Oh yeah.
As they always should.
Yes, Pyrrha is the correct choice. Pyrrha or Nora?
Are you sure it's wise to have eaten before a fight?
Of course.
I'm just pausing for copyright, make sure. So we're not really building anything of Yang and Blake in this scene.
No.
Like, the best we can say is they're contently in each other's presence, separated by 2 other girls.
Yep. Energy.
We could define all 4 of them as friends.
Yep.
Oh yeah.
That's disgusting. But if you do feel the urge,
Not particularly close either, but you know.
Yeah. This is what casual high school friends would do.
Robots in the background.
Yep.
Background people mimicking robots in the background.
Twilight, they're not actually
Robot
people.
racism.
They're just standee cutouts that are there to make it look like they have business.
Well, I saw that guy move, but he was moving like
Oh, this guy? Yeah, he's the only one that's breathing. He's a paid actor.
No, not that guy. The one in front of him. He was moving like Jose in Cyber 6.
I don't get that reference yet.
I know. We have to get to that.
I need to fully watch that show. I only saw 2 episodes of it. That's really good.
Let's just say that Jose's father has
Oh, thank God. That gave me such a heart attack.
I was about to say, wasn't there more Volume 3?
I tried to feather forward, and it swapped over to the next video in line.
Whoops.
Because this doesn't have the same controls as YouTube, even though it looks like the same as YouTube.
In all seriousness, no. As goofy as the background is, I would kill for backgrounds as intricately designed as this in some of the more recent volumes.
Oh my God!
Hot
yes.
damn, Atlas is boring as hell.
Dude, the market in Volume 9 was like just a breath of fresh air in comparison to so many of the backgrounds we've gotten up until that point. And then after that, 100%. It was like the paper pleasers.
feeling pretty good.
Yes, Brian.
No,
You
before
did hear
that,
me
there was
mention
also
Cyber
the
6.
Should
the other
looking forward
market
to a fight
thing.
with actual guidelines and not, well, murderers.
Yeah, don't
Yeah, when did you do that, Pyrrha?
Sweat it. We've all faced way worse before.
Let's see. Grim invasions, violent extremists,
Okay, plain.
destructive sociopath.
And that's all what we were
Blake is actually talking in this scene.
Ruby,
Amazing.
stop opening your eyes so wide. It's creepy without your nose.
Then I'll be able to pay for it all.
Another thing about Ruby, like I mentioned how the reds of her outfit got really desaturated,
Yeah.
but the silver of her eyes
Yeah, I
also
hated
gets
that.
really dark in this volume.
Do you think
Like, her
they
eyes
did it
look
because it's the
black.
darker
Yeah,
volume?
I'm
Why
not
do you think they
into
did
that
that?
either.
Like that seems like a
Edgy.
weird choice to to make it darker and more mature or something. Because that doesn't strike me really all that well.
I guess maybe they wanted to like, because things are weirdly brighter throughout this volume as well, in terms of just like the central lighting and also the background.
There is a lot of
so maybe they
glow.
wanted to highlight that a little more. Yeah,
Paper Pleasers was only existence for one thing.
like they don't
emotional
want to make
manipulation.
things look overexposed.
Well, it looks like this
I can
is
see,
it.
but then Pyrrha's hair is a pretty bright red. And it's doing all right. It's not the
Yeah,
brightest.
which is so weird.
My preferred Digimon partner, in general, I think is Palmon because of Mimi. But if I was gonna have a partner in general for a story, I think it would probably be a Lucimon without any of his holy rings. Also, Electric Angel. If you want to know anything about Digimon, you should watch my Digimon videos. Sorry, I just saw all the Digimon chat and there was a
Oh,
question
that was
for me.
Dedorex.
Yeah.
Is Dedorex gonna draw you with your favorite Pokemon?
Oh,
His favorite Digimon.
Pokemon.
My brain, I don't know why it did that. I think I was talking with Floof earlier. He was commenting on a map that I drew where I made a location called Golia, and he's like, "Sir, where did the Mon go? The Mon needs to be replaced. It's so vacant without the Mon." And I'm like, "Sadly, the Mon was taken by the tribes of Poka and Digi." And so Golia will have to stand on its own. Recovery cannot be had.
I always found it so funny in Skip Beat because Kyoko's boss in that is referred to sometimes as a love mon because he just absolutely loves the concept of romance in anything. He plays Otome games because he just loves the just romance in general so much, so he's just called a love mon.
Yeah, but he ain't got nothing on Pyrrha. Good luck, Neptune.
Now they're sitting next to each other.
Oh, now
Oh,
we're
now
really jumping
Yeah.
through the volume.
Yeah. And I think this is also...
Hell yeah.
Afraid of the water.
Was so close.
Looks like the dorks made it to the next round.
Emphasis on dork.
Is it okay? Actually, I caught it. Good. That was in response to Sun being a goofball up on stage. Doesn't that seem strangely like a romantic response? To get the blushies and the roll of the eyes and calling him affectionately dork?
No. Yeah, which is funny because one of the people that was arguing against me in the comments on my Bumblebee video, they were saying that like, oh, that scene didn't mean anything, man. You know, she was just embarrassed because the guy was embarrassing her in front of the crowd by winking at her. But it's like, if she was just laughing out of embarrassment, she would just laugh without the blushes, really. And
Also-
the show, it especially in the early volumes, isn't subtle at all. When a character blushes at another character, it typically means what you think it means, right?
Also, Blake doesn't seem like the kind of character who would get embarrassed over something as vague as a person randomly winking and pointing at her.
Yes.
I feel like, it would probably be minus the blush if she was just irritated. But no, she was smiling and blushing and talking in that very affectionate tone.
Yeah.
I haven't heard her speak about Yang that way
Exactly.
at all yet.
And she she knew Neptune was afraid of water, which implies she's spending more time around Team Sun than at least Yang does, who didn't know.
I keep wanting to call him Team Season because that's such a better name.
Yes. God, I love Oobleck.
Oobleck is so good.
He's the best.
He is.
Get Joel back, you cowards! Win him back however you can.
No, keep him away from this.
RWBY runs off. Well, oh yeah, shit. We've just jumped. Yeah, they are not together or thinking about each other at all in that massive gap of time. Because we just jumped from what? I don't know what scene we just jumped from where RWBY ran off. That was the one where she ran to Penny and CL, I think, right after that.
Beginning of episode 5, and this is the end of episode 6.
He attacked me.
Video footage and millions of viewers say otherwise.
Yeah, you see, the thing is, if I was being really generous, I could have included, like, I don't know, the end of the fight, where, like, she punches Mercury and be like, she's worried about what Blake's gonna think of her, but no, that's not at all going through her head at that moment. She's fucking confused about what just happened.
Yep.
So we get to talk about this scene.
Yep.
Oh, yeah, I've been waiting for this.
You all seem like good students. And the staff here at Beacon are fully aware that you would never lash out the way you did under normal circumstances.
Okay, name the circumstances in which I would lash out, asshole.
What I believe and hope this to be is nothing more than the result of stress and adrenaline. When you're out on the battlefield, your judgment can become clouded in an instant.
He's got the Michael Jackson glove thing going on.
Bum 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 bada bum bum bada bum bum bada bum.
I bet if they stole it from anything, it was Full Metal Alchemist. The one glove thing.
That's enough. The sad truth is, whether it was an accident.
Oh, I thought something was falling off the books, but it was just your mouse.
Oh, oops.
Woo! Oh my god.
Drawn their own conclusions, and it's my job to inform you that you're disqualified.
Well, here, Jake the Sturgeon. Well, here we are again, feeding our addictions, fueling our desire for mental torture. Yeah.
Oh, yes. I just can't help myself. I'm addicted. I need to get my fix in.
Here's a minor irritation. We never find out how the tournament's going to restructure after this point. It's not really important, I know, for the plot or anything like that. But I'm just curious, like, the person that just won is now disqualified. And Mercury is clearly too injured to actually take place in the actual fight. So, what's the plan now?
I would assume
there will be like a 1v1.
Congratulations, other bracketeer. You must now fight yourself.
I would just restructure it to the Amica Fest in Fractured Fairy Tales, but that's just me. Putting effort into my tournaments. That'd be me.
Also, Dead Rex, don't trigger me right now. Don't trigger me right now with this.
I would Justin Yang for something she never did, further cementing himself as Team RWBY's antagonist. Well, I mean, to everyone else, it looks like she did do it. It's just funky how that happened.
Yeah.
So,
but some people actually say.
Here's two instances of good characterization. Yang is supported immediately by RWBY and Weiss. They have her back. Honestly, I think Weiss should probably be more questioning, but Weiss has had her growth spurt. She's grown. Not tall, but as a person. But then immediately,
damn,
Blake.
Yeah.
This is the worst character beat in probably the entirety of Volume 3, I want to say. Because we have this moment of Blake questioning and doubting Yang, and it lasts for all of like a minute before she's like, okay, I believe you. When in reality, Blake was in a romantic relationship with someone arguably for years who then turned bad, and these are the same behaviors that she saw in him that she's seeing now in Yang. She should immediately be like, I mean, this is what I did in fixing. She should be immediately like, I can't.
Yeah.
What the fuck? What was that? Like
it's almost it's almost like they didn't plan for Adam to end up the way that he did, or else Yang or Blake would have a very different perspective on what is happening with Yang if she is going to compare her to Adam.
Mm-hmm.
I
I
don't know if that's the case.
Mind-boggling here.
I would actually wager it's more they're afraid of having conflict between these characters. I would actually think that's more or less the case. They are
well, why not both?
Okay, fair.
Not both.
Fair, but I think in this instance, I think it's less how they want their cake and eat it too. That's how this scene is playing out. They want to have Blake have this angsty backstory involving Adam, but they don't want to split up or damage Team RWBY's unification. They don't want to damage any of that.
I mean, they have to actually set up a unification for them to damage it in the first place. So,
well, I mean, to be fair, we have said multiple times by this point they're friends, but how good they are friends should be in question, and it doesn't seem like they are all that deep at this point. Like they've had one deep conversation, arguably, a really weird and roundabout one, but one nonetheless where there was a heart to heart, which should have gotten them on a path of deepening their relationship. But everything after that point fails to capitalize on that. So we're kind of still in this lurch where they're starting to make progress into a deeper friendship. But now we've hit a massive roadblock that should immediately be calling all of that into question.
Like, I would call this whole moment like a step backwards relationship-wise. I think they would grow farther apart from here. I bet it's because Adam shows up at the end of the volume and does whatever, but they have done so poor a job actually setting him up, especially in relationship to Blake, before now, that they're like, oh, dip. We have to have Blake actually talk about Adam, and then they decided to randomly put it into this scene. So then, because I could see, probably from their perspective, they were like, oh, and then later, she dives in to protect Yang from Adam, and the parallels, but I don't think they did it very well.
Dederex, that's a relevant question. Yeah. How old was Blake when she got together with Adam? Well, we don't know.
Debatable.
It's very debatable, and it's very uncomfortable, poison, because if it was more than like 2 years prior to the start of the show, I mean, even then, it's already pushing some weird boundaries with him, because he is clearly so much older. Yeah. Blake has this thing where she attracts people who are way older than her, like Ilya. I know Ilya is like supposed to be her age, but she was in the flashback with Adam when Gira was still in charge of the White Fang. And clearly implied
I feel like that was just like... I think that was just a total animation mistake. They're like, let's add Ilya, because we like Ilya. And then people are like, this doesn't add up age-wise. And then they're like, oh, no, we didn't think about that, because we don't think about things.
Also,
you think that they would put the effort into making an entirely new model just to have Ilya there for like 5 seconds?
Yeah.
Also, anime as art, I didn't miss your comment. It just, they felt like we had moved on. It was like, remember, Ironwood is evil, everyone. Absolutely, 100% evil. Yes, that is.
Oh yeah, true. Totally evil for doing the sensible thing, which is to, hey, we're gonna disqualify you so that people don't freaking cause a freaking kaiju attack.
Oh, we got Oscar Borgia, who actually has to leave immediately. But I gotta go, guys. I tried to come back, but this scene where I did not like Blake because why would she try and compare Adam, who killed people, to Yang, attack Mercury like they were supposed to be friends, like they are supposed to be friends. I can kind of see this. Like I like this scene in the sense of like Blake saw a steady decline with Adam, where it was at least it's implied that's what happened, and that's what I headcanon and obviously wrote into FRWBY, is that Blake saw a steady decline in how he behaved and how he treated people around him, and where his aggression probably came out in spurts and moments that, looking back, were clear indications that something was wrong, but she overlooked because of her feelings and emotional attachment towards him. Now she's seeing it with Yang, and she's like, I don't want to miss the red flags this time around. Which is ironic considering they wind up together at the end of this long road, and there's still several red flags flying.
Yeah. Also, you have to be careful, because I know how much you sometimes mix up canon RWBY with fixing RWBY.
I know. That's why I was like, I had to sit and think for a minute, like, how this actually progresses. Because I understand what they were implying with a lot about Adam, but they never solidified any of it, and it leaves it all in the lurch.
Yeah. God, they dropped the ball with Adam so much.
They did.
Yeah, because at this point,
you
this
guys talk
makes
about that.
Blake look fucking awful without any of that. Oh, perfect. Great time for me to talk about this. Because this makes Blake, without any of that context, this makes Blake look even more awful than she actually needs to be in this scene. You know? Because this is the very last interaction, and honestly the most they've interacted throughout the entire volume directly with one another. So the last thing we see of them interacting is in this scene where, for reasons that we barely understand, Blake is choosing to doubt that that this whole thing was a setup, or that there's some kind of explanation for Yang's, pretty irregular behavior here, right? And and to be fair, potentially this would be a great scene, which is why I love Celtic's version of this scene in his fixing, because when it comes to relationships, you need conflict, you need disagreements like these. This is the shit that we actually want, but they're not doing it the right way.
You know what would have been really great, especially for Yang and Blake's development, is if, because remember in Volume 9 where Yang said, I like how you were never afraid of me. Well, it would have been great if maybe Yang kind of was going down this brute force route where she just kept getting more and more violent, and then this might be the first time that, because all the other times before, maybe she was lucky and she didn't actually hurt somebody. But this is the first time that a mistake has been made and somebody actually got hurt. And Blake has been getting a little bit more nervous each and every single time because she saw the signs. And now that somebody has been hurt, now she's speaking out about it.
So much of RWBY is like an actually good idea, but they just don't set it up or execute it quite the way they should.
You ever heard of good ideas, bad execution? Well, ladies and gentlemen, we got good ideas, no execution. How about that?
A floating shopping list asks, all four of you right now, was Adam Blake's former lover or non-romantic lover?
Lover.
By the end of Volume 3, it's spelled out pretty clearly. It's like, hello,
lover.
Was it love? Was it the word?
Yeah, darling. Darling. No one calls someone darling.
Hello,
yeah, and I'm.
Hello, darling.
Although we never actually see anything of their relationship, so we don't know what it was like. And I think the RWBY writers have implied that it was abusive, but we never really see that abuse. Like, I get that we had the Volume 6 trailer for Adam, but it's not really all that good at, like, contextualizing things. It makes him look like a skeezy bastard, but at the same time, what he did wasn't wrong in that trailer, so his apology to Blake feels more like, look, I protected myself in self-defense.
An ideological one.
Yeah.
Sort of. Yeah.
It's very unfortunate.
Like, if that was you trying to point him as an abuser, that's not how you do it, man.
Yeah. It's very unfortunate because good writing should not be explicit, but it should also be very clear without having to spell it out for you that there is one thing or another.
Yeah.
Bad writing is when you don't say anything, but you also don't make anything clear either, so you can have a million different interpretations for this thing because there really isn't anything there to indicate one way or the other. So, like, for instance, I could very easily say something like, well, Blake had a one-sided relationship with Adam, whereas Adam thought that she was just like he was just a mentor figure, and now that he's then once he meets her back in Volume 3, now he's just mocking her with her romance that he knew that she had a crush on him and stuff like that. Like, you could you could twist it to be like that, and it wouldn't technically be wrong because there's nothing else really to indicate that they both mutually had a relationship like that together.
I just want to hit a few super chats, but I want to say, like, a good example of being vague but also kind of clear. Jet from Avatar: The Last Airbender. Yes. Jet's dead, guys. Jet's dead, but they couldn't show that 100%. On air the way they wanted to. So that they did it in such a, I don't want to call it even a graceful way, but it was done in such a way that, like, yeah, no, he could be alive, but no, he doesn't show up ever again, and there's a reason why.
It was pretty tasteful.
It was very tasteful. Actually, I'm wondering how the live action Avatar is going to do it. I'm curious about that show. It's going to be interesting to watch.
Also, a recent example is Eureka 7, now that we're beginning to watch it. I did ask you about this. You never explicitly stated it. Like, you mentioned Holland had blacked out Diana's face. But what I was getting at is that you never see her face in the show ever.
Oh, yeah. No, we haven't seen her face at all. Up until I imagine we might at some point. I mean, she's too important to not show the face of, but I imagine it's going to be dramatic as fuck.
Yeah, I was just asking if you had noticed that or not.
Not consciously, but when you pointed out, it's like, oh yeah, no, that makes sense.
Yeah.
Fallen Gang, $2. Here's hoping RT doesn't get angry this time. Here's hoping, man. Jake the Sturgeon. James was doing the Emperor's will, and by default did nothing wrong, making the group of failures heretics, and we all know what happens to them. I'm sorry, man. I'm a Zinch guy. Anyway. Let's see. Part 2. Also, this further proves on why this from Oscar. Part 2. Also, this further proves why this ship doesn't work, because why would Yang forgive her after everything she'd done and act? Heck, Yang should have a grudge on her and not be with her romantically, why? Well, we'll get to that. There's a lot of reasons why Yang and Blake should not be together, and then Volume 6 happens, and it's like, I guess they're going to be together soon.
Yeah, I was thinking about, like, this scene's like the antithesis of the one from Burning the Candle, where Yang was like welcoming Blake in, trying to help her, being understanding and talking, and this is like Blake shutting Yang down and doing the opposite.
Killjoy695. Yay, I missed the first one. I'm glad I caught this one.
$50. Holy shit.
Yeah, big one. I love tearing apart Barb and Aaron's self-inserts for their OnlyFans merch store. At the beginning, Adam was Blake's mentor and nothing more until Aaron made the writers change it with Barb's support. Okay, no, I don't know where anyone gets this idea that Adam was purely Blake's mentor. I think he was Blake's mentor, but that does not somehow negate the possibility of them being romantic in any way, shape, or form.
Mm-hmm.
Also, I didn't know anything about Aaron. Wait, what? What?
Oh, I just said dinosaurs in the chat.
Dinosaur? Buddy! Hey, how's it going? Have you plagiarized anything recently? How's it going?
Wait, what? I don't know.
Kaiser, we'll have to tell you all about Dinosaur later.
Yeah.
How's the Fixing RWBY Critics sub going for you, man?
I'm missing the lore.
How's being downvoted to 0 on your own sub going? That must be fun.
Shit.
Anyway.
He'll only have like 3 members.
Does he even have that?
I'm pretty sure there's at least 3.
Is alt account?
Probably.
Oh my god.
What were we talking about?
Anyways,
that's right. Okay,
I had a quick question for Killjoy. Yeah, Killjoy's comment here. Yeah.
What's the question?
I was just going to ask, also, if you have proof that Aaron made the writers change Adam's relation to Blake with Barb's support, send it to us. Yeah. Because I don't believe it until I see it.
From my understanding, I mean, we did not see jack shit on Adam. Like, what did we get of... I could do a supercut of Adam in RWBY, and it would probably be like 10 minutes long.
I think it'd be less. I think it'd be like 5.
Yeah.
He's, especially if you don't count the Black trailer. Like, he's
not
in Volume 1 at all.
Count that, then yeah, it's probably like 6 minutes.
Yeah.
Actually,
Black trailer
depends on how
Black
long
is like
you
3
think
minutes long.
the Volume 6 fight is.
So 3 minutes long. He's in all of it. So we'll just give him
me a moment.
minutes.
Okay. All right, buddy.
Make
sure to ping me when you find it.
He gets a cameo at the beginning of Volume 2 in terms of Blake's notebook. And then he shows up at the very end of Volume 2 to be like, they'll listen to me. Then in Volume 3, he shows up for like a grand total of what? 2 minutes? 3? I think 3 minutes.
Yeah.
Something like that. 3 minutes.
However much is left of this video, that's like all the Adam time.
Yeah. It's like 8 minutes of time. And then he has an expanded role in Volume 4? Was 4 where he killed or was it 5 where he killed
It was 5. He wasn't in 4 at all.
He wasn't in 4 at all.
Yeah,
he was in Yang's Nightmare, but that was it.
You're getting mixed up with fixing
I
RWBY
am getting
again.
mixed up. That's where I was asking questions. This is why I have you guys to help me parse it out. But yeah, and then
you shouldn't ask me.
And then Volume 5 and then Volume 6, he's just dead. It's like his mass screen time is so minimal across the series. We never get a feel for what his relationship with Blake was like, whether that be mentor or not, or romantic or not. I don't know anything about their dynamic other than that one, like, they had 2 scenes together, like, outside of the Black trailer.
Yeah.
Okay, so 3 total scenes before they split.
Yeah.
And one of those was them splitting. So it's like, I don't know what to feel about their relationship, but
Yeah, which by proxy just undercuts the ever-loving shit out of Blake's character, Blake's internal emotional struggles, and how Yang is supposed to be representative of her progressing past his abuse. Because we can't even say if that is even a positive change other than just the most superficial shit that they did like several volumes later.
Yeah,
I feel like I feels like they were trying to build up Adam so much. Like the reason we hadn't seen him throughout most of volumes 1 through 3.
BRB, guys, I'm getting some food.
Okay. Was like because they were trying to. It's like they were trying to build him to be this really big character, but then I think they like lost their nerve when they realized that they weren't doing the Faunus thing very well, and I feel like a lot of RWBY has got really derailed with them just throwing the Faunus plotline out the window.
Oh, Celtic Phoenix, does Adam's screen time before Volume 6 get topped by his short? It might. I legitimately think it might. Yeah, so I think what happened is they didn't know what they were fucking doing with Adam. They wanted to play up that he was this phantom in Blake's past, but they didn't have a solid idea of what that was. And here's the thing. Even if they did adjust it to add the lover's romance, like Killjoy, the lover dynamic that like Killjoy says, even if they did that, it wasn't like they didn't have room to. It's like they had such little, we had such little information on Adam that anything they added to the relationship after the fact wouldn't change anything that we had already seen. So it's not like that's a terrible thing. Like that happens all the time. Character dynamics actually shift and change as you write the work and as you go. Like, you know, it'd probably be better if I went back and changed this and fixed this here and tweaked this. And hey, if I tweak this here and change this character dynamic, it doesn't need to actually be fixed anything back. It just needs to be carried forward. And we
Lucifer, I think everyone in this room has an abusive relationship with RWBY.
Hi,
all of us do.
Thank you for talking. I'm a battered housewife. I promise you, he's good. I can fix him. I can fix him.
Like Critter is the battered wife. You are the romance protagonist in a YA novel.
And you and Kaiser are the children caught in between.
Yes.
What's more interesting, Adam Zekiel, what's more interesting, a morally gray civil rights fighter or an incel ex-boyfriend? Why not both? Why not both?
Combine them together and make something
That was
really
my big
crazy.
intent with fixing RWBY, is that like he can be both. The fact that the two blurred together for him is a sign of his deteriorating mental state, and it's one of the things I am most happy with well, not most happy with. I feel like we could have done more, especially showing the prior relationship, but showing as Adam's mindset was that Blake was a symbol for him of the future the Faunus could have, that she would be standing there beside him as he and she basically took the Faunus and uplifted them. She was an instrumental part of his world image for the future that he wanted, and she took that away from him. And it creates this completely unhealthy, toxic relationship. Even before that, it was a toxic mindset because he had put so much investment in her and gotten his entire life wrapped up in her that when she stepped out of it, he didn't know what to do. He was broken by that point. And I think that's such a more interesting character mental state to explore. And it's where I get a real problem with anyone that's like, Adam should have never been Blake's love interest. No, he should have been a well-done ex-love interest. That's how it should have happened.
Well, when you have writers who barely know their pencil from their eraser, then the only thing that you can ask for is to do more simple stuff and not double up on anything, because obviously they can't handle it.
Mm-hmm. RWBY just screams of people who did not think to go back. Like, once they wrote their first draft, they're like, that's good.
They are like the 14-year-old fan fiction writer who doesn't know anything about writing, and so they take on more than they can chew, and then they get overwhelmed with all of these plot points that they don't know how to deal with because they don't know anything about writing.
Oh my god. They are the exact...
Yes, agree with my Bumblebee video harder.
They are the exact middle ground.
Twilight.
They watching EFAP, they talk about a couple of different directors, and so you have Dave Filoni, who's currently in charge of a lot of Star Wars properties, who they typically describe him as the 10-year-old playing with his action figures. He just like smashing them together and saying, "Oh, they're so cool," and doing these cool flips, and yeah, look at this action scene. And then on the opposite end, you have Zack Snyder, who is like the edgy 16 to 18-year-old writer. Miles Carey, especially early on, are like smack dab in the middle. They are like the edgy 14-year-old that doesn't quite know how to be edgy.
RWBY walks on screen. Hi, I am RWBY Darkness Dementia Ravenway.
I remember RWBY Katsuneki Oni.
You just have the beautiful line.
Danny! I'm dipping into the white rose jar. YC-kun!
Oh my god.
Oh, that's a deep reference.
Yep. One that you still have to work on.
At least one video of that is out. At least one video is that out. Looking for bad fan fiction night on here. Oscar Borgia.
We've been on this one frame for a while. Maybe we should move forward.
I just want to hit this last super chat. Oscar Borgia. Last part. At best, for their relationship, there should be friends and not a couple, which makes more sense. All the BB scenes make no sense with everything we know, like the bridge, which is awful. Take care, guys. Bye, Oscar. And again, I will disagree that Bumblebee couldn't work. I just think that they didn't make it work. Yeah. So,
well, it can't work as it is.
Take care, dude.
You have to fix it up first.
So here we go. Behold the magical scene where Blake.
What's that supposed to mean?
Also, hey Pete.
Did you edit this footage? Did you make it brighter?
This is from Fat Man, so he probably resatured.
Oh, Fat Man, you and your saturation. You always throw me for a loop.
He hates how like a lot of RWBY ends up looking.
Say something like that. They would never lie to us.
This is the only time that tears have ever looked good in RWBY.
Oh my god, you're right.
Yeah.
It wasn't in an instant. It was gradual.
Like there's
oh wait,
so
no, they do spell it out. It was gradual for her. Okay, I didn't gaslight myself. Okay, I'm glad about that. Wow, that sky is really nice out there.
Yeah, there's so much to complain about with volumes 1 to 3 in terms of animation, but I will say it was the only time that the tears actually looked like tears.
Because a lot of tears they have like running down the cheeks now.
Hey, CBF.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, from the middle of the eye.
Very familiar. But you're not him. And you've never done anything like this before.
And watch how long it takes for her to believe Yang over here.
Yeah. It's
Also,
like,
yeah,
watch.
Yang didn't
count
make
the
a case
seconds.
for
Let's count the
herself.
seconds, people.
yeah.
Yeah,
why
let's
isn't Yang
count the
defending
seconds
herself here? Like,
So, I want to trust you. I will trust you. But first, I need you to look me in the eyes and tell me that he attacked you.
oh god, this line. Oh fucking god. Oh god. He attacked you.
Yeah, as if freaking Adam didn't lie to your face either.
Well,
What the
why
fuck,
didn't you just ask her what her side of the story is without like coaching her into saying something that could be a lie?
Yeah, it's like Blake just had a monologue planned, and she's just ready to like give it.
Yeah, well, we'll get to this moment. Adam Ezekiel. Okay, so what I'm
Yeah.
getting is you guys think they should balance the civil rights fighter and the ex-liver traits to make Adam a deeper character, while some people just don't like the ex-liver part at all. That is correct. That is exactly what I'm saying. I think
pretty much
they could have worked with it. They just didn't do anything with it that was really of note, other than, I guess, I have a very emotional connection to Blake. Good. Okay. Great.
Yeah, like
that's very nondescript.
Yeah. There's just so much
Which is
that
what,
is
what
just
they did with like Char Aznavour and Gundam, for example, and that worked pretty well up until Char's counterattack, in which I had some issues with that. But overall, like he's much better because they at least explain what the relationship was.
RWBY is the cake that has only been in the oven for 10 minutes before you've taken it out.
Oof. Having undercooked a cake before, that's rough.
Yeah.
Oh, I mean, at that point, it's literally still soup.
Oh my god.
Yeah.
So I attacked back.
Oh my god.
I love that, like, Fatman pointed this out in his video, where, like, Blake asks Yang to do one thing, Yang completely sidesteps and says another. It's like...
Yeah. Also, she uses the phrase attack back, and it's like, not defend yourself.
Yeah. Wording is very important. It's the difference between something incriminating and not. It is the difference between whether or not you're going to understand context or not. It is the difference between understanding what's happening in a conversation or not. Language is important, guys.
Also, I just had a thought about the Mercury fight. What if Yang had decided to dodge instead?
Oh, true.
Because, like, it's not...
And their plan is fucked.
Yeah, then their plan is fucked. Like, their whole plan is to create a controversy, but, like, if Yang sees something and hops back, like, unexpected, everyone's like, what? Yang, you okay? It's like, he attacked me, what the fuck? And then, like, would the illusion break? And she'd be looking at, like, him on the ground and be like...
Maybe it would keep going.
Maybe it would.
Yang just looks like she's doing like weird breakdance moves.
Yeah, but at that point, but you see, is at that point you would have to have Mercury constantly like kind of like jutting forward to try and match pace with her, so he's in the right position to have his leg attack.
This only makes sense though if Emerald has an idea of who Yang is as a person and as a fighter.
Which she doesn't.
Nope.
Well, she knows she's a bimbo.
She knows she's a bimbo, but being a bimbo has nothing to do with fisticuffs.
Which is especially, actually, the idea, I know this is probably trying to capitalize on the fact that Yang supposedly is a hothead, but we barely really see her that much as a hothead in the first 3 volumes anyway, which makes this plan even worse.
And I talked to Raymond about how I was very disappointed with the whole chaos in the Emerald Forest, because I showed him the breakfast scene in the Crudes as an example of what I would have expected for chaos and stuff.
Yeah. Looking back at fixing Volume 1, and I was remastering it, the Emerald Forest was the one that I was like, God, I wish I could just do this all over again without being married to my old notes. But I was. I mean, that's the conceit of the remaster is I can't vary outside of my old notes. I need to actually work within the bounds of what I set for myself because I acknowledged things where I had problems. I should have probably mentioned that there, but I really struggled with the Emerald Forest because that's just a clusterfuck of a scene. That entire series of events, like especially like where like Ruby's falling in on everyone, just madness.
When you finish up fixing RWBY, then you start a new series called Remaking RWBY.
Fixing RWBY.
In fairness,
yeah, fixing RWBY.
I have entertained a like RWBY type idea where it's like I just take all the constraints off of what I have on fixing RWBY as a thought experiment, and just be like, all right, if I had RWBY from base, what would I do with it?
Yeah, and I remember you said that you basically wanted to make it Slayers.
RWBY, the Celtic cut.
The Celtic
Which
cut.
made me so happy. Yeah.
She's doing the best she can.
I heard Mercury and his
And she's already completely over the fact that she doesn't trust Yang. Just already.
Yeah.
She's doing the best she can. She's already...
Yeah. She literally pulled the freaking just a pancake meme. Okay, I believe you. And then she's over it. She's over it.
Now that I think about it, this one scene might be the linchpin of the discord with Bumblebee. The more that I think about it. Because this reaction from Blake does not make sense. And it's just the sudden forgiveness is the foundation on which all their friendship is now based. It's like, damn, that's just convenience your way out of an actual compelling dynamic where these two characters have to learn to trust each other again.
Yeah.
And this is supposed to be a realistic relationship, people. Remember that. That's how they describe it.
Dinosaur, you didn't do fixing RWBY. You did plagiarism. Someone else did fixing RWBY, and it was legitimately funny. Go look it up on YouTube. It's just a guy who is like, go watch the original RWBY. And I laughed because he was creative.
Yeah, Dinosaur, you can't be a good troll if you don't have the intelligence to troll, right?
Wasn't Dinosaur the one who just stole an entire video of mine and then put like circus music over top of it?
Yep.
What a great person.
He did what?
Look, I don't Dinosaur.
Yeah. And it was an important video talking about like transphobia and Rooster Teeth. And they're like, "No, I like Rooster Teeth. You're clown music."
Yeah, it's Dinosaur. Now that I have your attention, buddy, like you claim you were 16 years old, as far as I am aware. If you're 16 years old and you're not actually a 40-year-old man like some other people suppose, grow up. Legitimately grow up. There's a point where being a troll can be fun, but you're not entertaining anyone but yourself, and you're laughing in an empty room. You're all you're doing is alienating people around you. So just focus on your own work, build your own stuff up, learn new skills. However, if you are the 40-year-old man, Jesus Christ, go fuck yourself. Because at this point, you're beyond helping. Anyway, I mean that's not what Deku
where
would
can I
want.
get
That's
your
not,
haters, man?
That's not
Where
that's
can I
not
get
what
some
Deku would say. But like, I'm not Deku. I'm sorry. I can't save everyone. Anyway, Blake is thinking about Yang in this scene, allegedly. Thinkingly.
He's thinking about her fish ramen. Like, dang, I'm hungry.
Yeah, May, that's the reason why she forgave her. Just so it's like, okay, fine, I need to forgive you so I can get some food.
Right.
Do my best. I'll be sure to watch tonight in case you're picked.
God.
A part of me is glad Pyrrha died so they couldn't ruin her outfits with the future volumes.
Oh my God, you're so fucking right. And I think that's it for this scene.
Here I thought your dark-haired friend was the emo one.
I think I literally just included this because like, oh, now she's probably thinking about Blake for a moment. That was literally it.
Honestly, I would think that she would be more thinking about her situation than Blake.
Yo, it's just because he literally mentioned Blake directly.
Oh yeah, that's fair.
Though, and to be fair, he could have been talking about Ren.
You could have.
I mean, who remembers Ren though?
Nora.
Let's be real.
Nora.
Only one.
Nora
Yeah, Nora.
Pepperidge Nora remembers.
Which is unfortunate, especially given what they wanted to do with Ren later, but I got a two-parter talking about that, so check out those videos.
I feel really bad for Ren because he's the character that gets the least amount of anything in this show, and even the fans forget about him. To the point where everyone is always focused on Jean because he's the one that
I don't know,
gets the most screen time.
I don't know if I'm actually bothered by that because Nora and Ren never seemed like big focal point characters, and he's also the admitted self-insert of Monty Oom. Like I think that's not anywhere. Weirdly, unlike John and Neptune. He's like the one that was like, yeah, I'm just put myself in the show.
But you would think though, in order to do something because they're like doing anything for Monty's memory, you would think that you would to write Monty's self-insert in the story well and to give him a good character arc that would be a tribute to his memory or something.
Especially in volume 7 and 8, like I'm all like, come on, dude, you could have done better than that. You could have done so much better. Putting Monty's legacy aside, like, come on.
I only remember because I like his hair. That's fair shade.
He does have good hair.
All right, so everything's going to shit, and now they're on scrolls. Pausing for copyright, just be safe. So, okay, what do we think of this scene where shit's going to hit the fan and they call each other? It goes back, that prior scene should not have ended the way it did. It feels wrong, this particular build.
Yeah, I think looking at the idea of the romance in mind, then yeah, it does feel weird, but I just can't get over the idea of most of these scenes only happen because they were regulated partners. Something that I have no reason to understand why the partner system even exists when you have a team of 4.
That was something that was like kind of a missed opportunity with the Aesops. We never really got a good scene of a team that, like, I mean, the Aesops were like, oh, we're not friends. And it's like, well, that's an interesting dynamic to explore. Why haven't we explored that yet? Like, all these different teammates become friends.
Good question.
It would be interesting to see, like, teammates that are literally just, we are in the same classes together. We take notes together occasionally. We're in the same dorm, but we don't hang out together. We don't do anything. In combat, we're actually really good paired up together, but, like, outside of that, we're just kind of very professional with one another. Like, we don't see that kind of dynamic at all.
It's also weird, like the
because
whole
we had to have that election subplot that barely mattered.
The whole team thing really goes away after a while. Like, after the school days, no one's in a team anymore, and it's like, why is there so much emphasis on that for your college years when it's irrelevant once you graduate?
Dragon Ball Z, I have to go. Gonna watch V9 cringe with a friend. Been taking him through RWBY, and he thinks this ship is a shit post. Lol, good luck with the rest of the stream.
Have fun!
Have fun!
Right.
Don't cringe too hard and go pull a muscle.
All right, bring alcohol.
Honestly, there's too many characters in RWBY and too much lore, but that's what impressed me with fixing RWBY. Nearly everything and everyone is a satisfying... No, there's not... It's not there's too much. It's just not optimized.
Yeah, there are too many characters for the amount of stuff that is going on. There is a surplus of character and an inverse of things to do with those characters. Because, like, this is the... I am a big fan of the first season of Digimon. There are 8 characters in the first season of Digimon, plus their Digimon partners, and they all get a good amount of screen time together.
Like, that's not counting antagonists that also get a good chunk of screen time. That's not counting side characters that show up periodically in return. That's the balancing, I mean, it's relatively simple the way they constructed it, though. Like, you can, like, early on, they're together, then they all get split up, so you get individual episodes focusing on little pairings of characters. But it was done very effectively to try and convey quite a bit of information.
And then they get split up again during the Dark Masters arc.
Yep.
In different groupings, so they're not just all the same people over and over and over again getting paired up.
Yep.
And it leads to good dynamics. So you can have a show with a bunch of characters that works well. It's just that you have to plan it properly.
Yeah.
Yep.
We even see this in the modern day with Legends of Vox Machina. Like, isn't that show starring like 8 main characters?
But isn't that also a tabletop RPG?
Who may or may not be voiced by... Yeah.
I don't, I mean, even though it's a written show at this point, I don't know if I would really count that, because a lot of that came from the fact they had 8 players. Like... There's a little bit difference when you have effectively 8 writers, one for dedicated to each character. It's a little bit different. It's a little bit different.
I mean, yes, it's fundamentally different, but the principle is the same. The principles of the thing is the same, I think.
I don't quite know.
Especially since
if I
that
had
was a campaign that was like years ago.
If I had a dedicated writer for all of my like main characters in any story that I'm writing, oh my god, I would have such an easy time writing, because I could be like, all right, what does this character do in this circumstance? Oh, he does this. All right, was this character react in this way? It's like, no, he reacts in this way. All right, got it. And just be like, you can immediately coordinate. M3D, can someone explain why it was planned from the beginning as a defense? I believe it personally, but if you've been cooking that long, why so ass? Good point. That's a very good point. Like, that's
Good
something that I
point.
always point out. I was like, oh, it's been planned from the beginning. Yeah, you know what was also planned from the beginning? Tommy Wiseau's The Room.
Yeah, yo.
Just because something was planned for a very long time doesn't mean that it's going to be good if you don't plan it properly.
Yeah, like do you,
hey,
Lord of the Rings.
Hey, Fate Unlimited Blade Works, didn't see you there.
Like Lord of the Rings, like that obviously wasn't planned from the beginning, and Tolkien never pretended it was, because not all stories are good at the beginning. Your stories naturally change, so I don't know why Rooster Teeth insists that, it was always planned this way, as if they think that's
because
good thing.
If I'm going to say, I think it's defensive more than anything. It's a virtue signal.
Generally think when people hear like, oh, something is planned from the very beginning, guys, it makes it sound much more methodical and impressive than it actually is. So they're throwing that in there to make it seem less like a slack job.
Well, no, yeah, I was going to say, like, what's more impressive to me is when someone says, yeah, no, that was an ad lib and we built around it on the fly. Like, when I hear that and I look at it like, oh, the finished project is fucking amazing, that's impressive to me, because you have to have several things firing on all cylinders to make them work. I'm trying to think of an example of it in Fixing RWBY, because I know we've had a few. A good example of this was Cordovan. We had planned initially to go with the full, like, original theft arc. We had initially planned to do that, but when we actually got to that part of writing the script of, like, introducing them to Argus and the situation there, it's like, well, if they're going to immediately go about planning to steal the ship, it's going to be a short end to the volume. We're going to end with, like, what? No one's going to grow. There's going to be there's going to be less than 20 episodes when we're consistently 22. Oh, what if instead Cordovan actually works with them? That was the idea that spun out into everything that happened in Argus. And we ran with it. We took that and ran with it. Now, admittedly, that was technically in the planning stages, but we didn't have Cordovan planned from, volume 1. That was something that we basically hit when we were writing the script for it, when we were coming across it. That kind of stuff functions way better. Or not functions way better, but it's more impressive when you can pull off something like that as opposed to having it long planned out way in ahead, because you have plenty of time to fix problems as they crop up. The issue here is they didn't fix problems as they cropped up, like that previous Blake scene where she shouldn't have forgiven Yang that far ahead of time. And
in fact, they keep making the same mistakes.
Yeah. It all comes off to me as, oh, it was planned from the beginning, makes it feel like it's a defense or a brag or something like that to try and get brownie points from the LGBT like contingent of the fan base, which most of the fan base is a very big supporter of LGBT, so I understand where they're coming from. It makes it feel skeevy. It comes off as representation without earnesty, with it comes off as like hollow.
Yeah.
Kind of like May.
Also,
May is actually a good
absolutely
example of this.
correct,
May is totally a knee jerk when she gave that whole spiel that doesn't really connect to anything in Volume 8.
Yeah. Like, it's a lot of like, oh, we throw it in here.
It would have been a different thing, you know? Yeah. It's really tacked on.
Like.
Also, I love Deaderex's image.
Oh, Deaderex.
I loved Abuse House Red Critter.
Has Deaderex been doing art and I just haven't been able to see it?
No, this is the first one.
No, this is the first one. We're this deep in, and this is the first one.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
I gotta use that Chadley bird for something itself. I gotta use that for the next thumbnail. Build a Kaiser.
Yes.
I guess you're a kid.
Yeah. I'm all like, Mommy, Daddy, please stop fighting.
All right, so
me and my little brother, the blueprint.
Yeah.
This can't be happening.
Okay. Is there anything more in this scene? Because they're really just conveying information and concern.
I think because like there's so much going on, there's not really time to be like, oh, I'm doing my crush.
Here we go. Like, Yang gets into a fight and Blake is concerned.
Blake shouldn't be concerned though. She knows Yang is good at breaking people's legs.
Yeah, she should have said, hey, break a leg for good luck.
This scene, I kind of wonder how anyone is scared of the Grimm, because if you're not afraid of them, then they don't see you. So if you just ignore them, then they won't be an issue.
Yeah, you could pet some of them too.
Yeah.
Yeah, probably.
My God, they're like Slender Man.
Maybe pop a Xanax.
And then the next interaction.
You know, if you pop a Xanax and you... Oh, God. Never mind.
Next.
Say my jokes prior.
Nah, you don't get time to say your jokes. I'm sorry. Oh, hi, Vivi.
Damn.
Hi, V.
Hi, V.
And as I set out upon this world and deliver the justice mankind so greatly deserves, I will make it my mission.
He's been listening to too much MCR.
Too bad the bride is a whore. Or is it? Was that MCR? Shit, I'm mixing up my mid-thousands edgy.
I think that's Panic at the Disco.
That might be Panic at the Disco. That is Panic at the Disco.
Fallout Boy.
He's been listening to too many 2000s emo goth music.
That shit was my jam, and I unironically love it.
I believe that out of the three of them, I've only listened to a combined total of maybe 10 songs.
I know. I think the same. Like, I don't own any of
I think I've
CDs.
listened to even less.
The one that I really listened to was just Linkin Park. That's my jam. But like, yeah, no, the other stuff
Linkin Park,
when it comes on, I'm not turning it off the radio.
The I've become so numb AMVs of the early 2000s.
Yeah. Oh God.
They even have it as like a commercial for Gundam Wing on Cartoon Network.
I hate how memeable Crawling in My Skin is, because I unironically adore that song, But oh my god, it is just so memeable for like the edgy teen humor. It's great.
Yeah.
Yes. Oh, also it was it was numb for Gundam Wing. It was so funny.
So here we go. This is where it actually starts. She's only yelling out for Blake, even though she started running around looking for Ruby.
What kind of hearing do you have?
Yeah.
Sorry, Critter.
Yang secretly has cat ears.
That's why they like each other.
My fractured fairy tales is becoming true because my Yang is a fox faunus.
Yeah.
What? Okay.
Oh, a fox faunus. Okay.
I know you've been stabbed, but you should be trying to yell, "Run, fucking run!" Not waving your hand like, "Oh, come here."
Come here and also get stabbed. I need you to have the same stab mark as me.
And the moment that changed the fandom.
We can be twinsies. Yep.
Oh no, you weren't supposed to come that enthusiastically. You were only supposed to get stabbed, not get your arm cut off.
I wanted you to be impaled on his long, throbbing sword.
Oh my god. Ladies and gentlemen, we are adults. We swear.
Kaiser, we're all children on the inside. Let's just admit it.
Stream gets demonetized.
Oh, fuck.
Suddenly.
I know, I'm an adult. No, so yeah, this is the moment that changed the fandom. First of all, pisses me off because
around the world.
It's not. This was an idea that we had for RWBY Over the Seas when I was working on that with Marcus back in the day. We're having Yang get her arm cut off by Adam. So when we saw it on the show, we were like, "Fuck! They took our idea. Everyone's gonna think that they had." Like, no. In retrospect, that's such a basic idea when it comes down to the dynamics that's going on here. Well, that said, this is a very striking image. Like the visual, I love them when they do these simplified colors. It works really fucking well. And yeah, this is so Twilight, you want to talk about that little thing that you had theorized going on with Blake and Yang's, the reason they really get together?
Oh, the idea that the only reason why they are a couple is because they bonded over their shared trauma.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Because this is the moment where suddenly we get more tidbits of them being in a romantic relationship. It is after this moment in time. It is never before. So the only thing that I can come to a conclusion about is that the only reason why they are in love with each other is because they have PTSD over Adam, and they trauma bonded, and that is how they fell in love.
Now, why would that be a problem? Sorry, I'm closing my blinds. Why would that be a problem?
Oh, I thought you did that for real for the memes. I thought you did that for the memes.
Why would that be a problem? Because that sounds like a very romantic thing to a lot of fanfiction authors out there.
Oh, it is a problem because that is a very unhealthy starter relationship. And that is never going to last in the long run. At best, and at worst, it can make one or both of the girls abusive towards each other because they haven't sorted out their negative feelings about the events that unfolded together. All they did was just fall into a romantic, at best, and possibly sexual relationship because of their trauma, which can lead to very unhealthy implications down the line.
And look it up, ladies and gentlemen. Look up on Google. This is actually very ill-advised.
Oh, yes.
IRL. This is real shit. Real fucking shit.
There's that one YouTube channel.
This is especially common in like both people who are like drug abusers. They can aid and abet their abuse. Of substances.
It is. That was I have family that have gone through rehab, and one of the big rules of rehab is do not ever enter a relationship while you're in rehab. Ever. Because it could lead to very bad habits forming very quickly, and you have another person that reinforces them.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Like, it's different if you're already in a relationship going into it, but there's a difference when you get into one, especially with another rehab patient.
There's a YouTube channel. I don't remember what they're called, but it's a therapist and a filmmaker, and they talk about various therapy related topics to a bunch of different movies. Yes, yeah, that one. And if you've seen any of their content, they've mentioned before how that is not a good relationship dynamic to be diving into.
Yep. So that is actually why Bumblebee makes me uncomfortable as a ship, because there is nothing in the show to indicate that they get over their PTSD and stuff regarding Adam before starting their relationship. It's more that the more stuff that they go through together that kind of reinforces it, makes their relationship grow stronger. They kill Adam together without any of the other girls, and then they bond in the most romantic sense in the show so far, right after murdering him. Like, it just reinforces the idea that they are because of their trauma.
Yang missed Adam because she needs glasses.
Yes.
Honestly, Yang, I want Yang with those big, goofy, like full moon glasses. I think that she would look adorable in them.
You so would.
Get on it, Deaderex. Get on it, Deaderex. Also, Vivi, you're absolutely right. We did talk about exactly what Twilight said one time. We talked about this exact thing. I think she was the first person who pointed this out to me, that, like, this is kind of why, like, realistically speaking, Yang and Blake's relationship isn't very healthy. Which, to any Bumblebee fan who might be watching this, who is still fervent about disagreeing with us, I want to ask you this question. So, you might argue, oh, well, you know, Blake and Yang isn't necessarily a realistic relationship then. But that contradicts everything else the writers are saying and what other fans are saying. So, I don't know, man. Pick your poison. Pick your stinger.
I would love for, like, in future, like, we pop in with Volume 10, and they've already broken up. And it was like a messy fucking breakup. And, like, the entire volume is them trying to work through their personal issues. And, like, they could do for Bumblebee what they did for RWBY during Volume 9, which is, like, directly address the criticism of, like, them being like, look, we bonded over trauma, but, like, that we did not start this relationship in a healthy place. We need to fucking fix this together. Like, or apart. Maybe that's the solution. Like, we gotta spend time apart and fix ourselves. Like, but we can't move forward. That would be very interesting. That would be a ballsy approach. I don't think they'll take it. I think we're gonna have a lot of cute moments of them together. Nothing very harsh or straining.
No, because
how much you want to bet they're gonna make a morning after scene?
Oh God, you know, you joke. We might see that. I mean, okay, you know what? I will give them kudos if they do that.
I will place a huge bet.
No, I will give them kudos if they do a recreation.
I am
of
willing
that
to bet money.
That meme where, like, RWBY, like, bursts into the room and be like, to prank Yang early in the morning, like, get up, and you have, like, you know, Yang's groggy, like, what the fuck? And then you have Blake, like, raise her head, and RWBY's like, oh my God, and runs out of the room. Like, if they do
like
that,
what happened in the Powerpuff Girls script.
Get on it, Deaderex.
Oh. Yeah, but you see, the Powerpuff Girls script.
Oh my God! That wasn't that script.
Yeah, but at the same time, we also didn't know much about Buttercup in that. God, that script! Don't remind me of it. That was such a bad fucking script. I'm so sad.
Her personality is lesbian.
Yeah.
Who did they? Wait a minute. Who did they have Buttercup with?
Killjoy.
Some random.
It was a rando
chick.
Well,
should have been Princess Morbucks. Would have made sense. Rebellion.
Oh my God! No, I could see that. I could see that.
Yeah, honestly.
Yeah.
And of course, we would
also,
have Blossom
Killjoy
with that boy at her school that she was obviously shipped together with in the 2016 version. That was totally not a self-insert, guys. I swear.
Totally.
Actually,
I didn't.
that
I
would be
didn't
great
watch
if,
that
like, in the
show
like,
at all. I didn't watch a single episode.
you see, if you did if they wanted to do a live action one, there's so many things you could pull from for them as adults that would be really fun to tackle. Like where they're super wholesome, but they still like have some grounding to like Blossom being like, you know, you were really creepy in grade school, right? Like you were really, really creepy around me. I didn't realize it until looking back. But like take that bull by the horns.
Yeah.
Anyway, enough about Powerpuff Girls.
Also,
Be cameo when.
Also, Killjoy asked us a question. I mean, what was it? Do you guys consider Yang and Blake to be Barb and Aaron's self-insert now versus earlier?
No, I actually don't. When you actually break it down, there's not all that much similar between them. Like, other than that, Yang and Barb are both outgoing, and Aaron allegedly is as withdrawn as reclusive as Blake is, though I contest that.
She's tough. She is tough online chick.
Yeah.
When there's nobody there to actually like deal with, then she is the big tough.
Oh
and
yeah,
I would say
everybody
Barb
wants
is
to
nothing.
be the internet bad bitch.
Like the most we can get is a bleed in of Barb's tendency for puns into Yang, and that doesn't even happen all that often.
Yeah.
Yeah. Anymore, especially not anymore.
It only happened. I want to say like
yeah, I disagree
once.
as well.
Yeah, it doesn't. I do not get the same kind of vibes that I do from them as I do from say like John. John feels much more self-inserty to me than for Miles than Barb and. Then again, I haven't watched as much content with Barb and Aaron alone. I mean, I didn't pay for their OnlyFans.
Yeah, I was about to say.
It is mostly too that the fact that it is mostly the fact that Jean gets so much screen time in comparison to his relative role in the story. In comparison to his other teammates as well. Like, it would be fine if all of them were equal in the sense that they were all equal main characters, but we know that it's supposed to be Team RWBY are the central protagonists, with the other with Team Juniper being secondary protagonists, but then Jean gets so much heaped onto him that he has been elevated into being main protagonist status along with Team RWBY, to the detriment of someone who arguably should be more like Oscar, let alone Nora or Ren.
Mm-hmm.
That is the main problem with Jean.
Yeah.
On a related note, talking about how Barbara isn't really anything like Yang. Barbara makes puns, and people say Yang makes puns. No, she doesn't. She does not. She made like 2 in the whole show. She does not make puns. That is not a part of her character. It annoys me that we pretend it is.
Yeah. I think that's more fanon projection than anything canon.
I would love to see a supercut of all the times Yang makes puns.
It's like 90% RWBY chibi or something.
For sure.
All right, so do we
Yes.
count this as romantic, or do we count this as I am protecting my friend who just got, filleted?
I am protecting my friend.
Yeah, like I would like to imagine if this was like Ren
I fight
behind
for my
her,
friends.
she would still be doing the same thing.
Yeah. Oh my God, that.
Yeah,
I remember I was
she-
reading a fanfic at one point, thinking it was going to be White Rose. Put $1 in a jar. I think it was going to be White Rose, but they kind of hid who the actual ship was with RWBY, and it turned out to be Ren. And I was like, what? What?
Oh.
That took me by a left. And I mean, I dropped it pretty soon after because I wasn't feeling any energy from that ship at all.
Raymond was like, ew, a het ship.
You joke.
I know that you have plenty of het ships, but
the
the joke is that he only likes Yuri.
But
also, here's new art from Deaderex.
Oh, more art? Immediately, I'm just to my phone. Oh God,
He
that is
gave
so.
it to me saying, "Prepare thyself for a most hard thrusting."
That is so. Oh, why would you do that? Why, of all the things in the stream to take an image of, why that one? Oh. Ah, you see, Blake loses her head around Yang. By the way, RWBY fans, that was a pun. Okay. This scene. What do we think about it?
I would say this might be the first true moment of something
more
deeper happening. Because Blake only has eyes on Yang. Maybe now she's processing a lot of emotions, like how Twilight was talking about, and is becoming attached to Yang, trauma bonding with her here. This is the first time I felt like there was something happening for them.
Yeah. Sorry. I was dying off in the corner with my mic off. But yeah, this is the first time that you can unequivocally say that there is something more going on. And I think that there is a lot of guilt going on in this scene from Blake's end. Because Yang got her arm cut off because of Blake, so she's obviously feeling very upset about that. And you can unfortunately kind of see a scenario where Blake kind of becomes attached to Yang because she feels guilt more than anything.
Yeah, I think that this is a very strong indication of like guilt bonding. Right? It's the
Which
sub category of trauma bonding.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Which is pretty, to be fair, is pretty consistent with Blake's character. But the problem is that, again, there hasn't been all that much, actual friendship bonding throughout most of the 3 volumes anyway. So the idea that this is supposed to be like something special between them that's building with them, aside from the immediate situation, right, is a little bit iffy.
Well, the thing is, I was going to say, like,
to be honest,
going back, that we had that, what should have been a very strong step backwards for them and a healing point. We had that weird road bump with them that they got over, but they still didn't deepen their relationship
instantly.
Yeah, it's like Theo would probably argue
it stayed stagnant. Yeah,
I was gonna say it maintained it reoriented course back onto what it was before. Though I would argue maybe that damage probably still lingers. I mean, like, and now Blake is just overwhelmed with guilt. Like, the combination of emotions going into these two's character is a nasty one. And what's going to be really painful about it is Volume 6 is not going to be able to address this. And that's where the romance really kicks off. And that's where we're going to have a lot of problems to address. It's going to be...
You know how long a hypothetical scene would have been to where they could have fixed this, like in between the barn scene and the freaking Adam fight scene? It would have taken literally like 3 to 5 minutes. I'm serious. If a 5-minute scene of them airing all this shit out would have fixed everything. If we just cut off that stupid shit with Jean as goddamn statue,
I was gonna say.
Yeah, I remembered your video. Actually, no. Was it your video or Twins'
It might have.
video?
It might have been Twins.
It could.
It was Twins' video, but yeah, she said the exact. Well, she didn't say the exact same thing. She dogged on that scene a lot. But think about for my Bumblebee video, I said if we, I think I even said this. If we had cut Jean's scene and had a scene with Blake and Yang addressing all this shit for like 3 or 5 minutes, fuck it, 3 minutes tops, that would have fixed everything, 100%.
Yeah.
And if you guys want to see I would say good, but I try not to self-judge my own work. If you want to see a potentially improved version of all these dynamics, please check out my channel for Fixing RWBY, for everyone that does not already know that is my main draw. We do attempt to fix just about everything in Blake and Yang's relationship in terms of how they're actually portrayed in these moments and much later down the stream, as well as Adam and a whole host of other people basically getting their entire stories fixed. It's a fun time, and I hope people will enjoy it. Anyway, yeah. So we have
shell.
Yep. Why did they change the tiers, man? They had it right.
Yeah, I hate it.
I get the feeling they just didn't know what to do with the Maya engine.
Yeah, I was gonna say, like, the animation.
Maybe they made this scene first.
Like, all this actually looks really good, so I don't know why they swapped off the way they did.
Well, they swapped off because this isn't a program that's meant for animation. That's why.
Yeah, I've heard Maya's closer to the industry standard, and more animators know how to use it.
It is industry standard.
Oh.
Yeah, Maya is what everyone learns when you go to school, and I know that because I went to animation school.
Oh.
This Maya is what I learned when I was in school. Everything is basically built to be as close to Maya as possible. Even Blender has a mode for anyone who was taught Maya in school, so that they would be more comfortable using Blender, so that it will look more like Maya. Maya is industry standard, so the reason why they switched off to Maya is because they wanted to do everything that every other company does. However, they don't do anything with it. They didn't learn the program properly, and any animator that they have there, they probably didn't have the time or the means or the voice in order to do things properly. From what I hear from all the Glassdoor reviews and stuff like that, which I feel so bad for them, and I understand what they're talking about when they say that. Shion, Maya is really difficult to learn to a certain extent, but once you learn some of the basics, then it's not all that bad. It's just, Maya is a very chunky program. There is a lot of stuff that is hidden behind
menus
different
and drop downs.
Menus upon menus, but you can do everything. Practically every single animation that you see out there was probably made off of Maya, or off of something that was built like Maya. So every animation that you see out there, RWBY could have looked like that.
Blender is very much the same way.
Yeah, they chose to have it look like that. That is the problem. That was a conscious decision.
RWBY making bad business decisions? That doesn't happen.
Romera 3 says, why couldn't they have kept them as friends? I feel like we need more good friendship stories than romance stories these days. Any thoughts on this? I have so I do love my White Rose. Put in the jar, don't worry. I'm keeping track of them. We have like $4 already. It's fine. But I love my White Rose, but I am so happy. My shipper brain isn't happy about this, but my writer brain is happy they didn't go the route of trying to also do White Rose in RWBY. At least they haven't so far. They have done purely Bumblebee, and they've kept RWBY and Weiss as just the best of friends. Because A, they're still adorable together. They still get some really good scenes together. And you're right, we don't get a lot of scenes where they're just people being friends. I think RWBY and John's friendship is actually really believable and really good. There's issues, but there's issues with everyone in RWBY. I think, if anything, like, I am disappointed that there are friendships that are just not really capitalized on. Like, what's John and Nora's dynamic like? What's John and Ren's dynamic like? John and Ren had one really funny scene, or cringy scene, depending how you want to see it, in Volume 2. And they've not interacted at all since then.
Except when John gaslit Ren during after Yang blew up at him in Volume 8.
Right.
I would also say a well-written romance looks a lot like a good friendship already. And Rooster Teeth just don't know how to do that.
No. There's so much, like, there's so much hanging up between, like, romance and friendship and all this kind of stuff, and, like, nobody, like, half the people can't do romance right, but then because they're trying to figure out how to do romance, they just put aside friendships.
Mm-hmm.
And Rooster Teeth can't do anything right.
Yeah,
Sorry, Raven, I'll let you speak.
It was just like I covered this in the last stream, but it was very recently, because I'd always kind of viewed, and I think a lot of people view romance as like a next step above friendship. It's a very pervasive belief.
Yeah.
A lot of people hold that, and even I, for the longest time, held that belief. And then very recently, there was just I think it was like gamer therapist. I can't remember. You'll see him if you watch shorts a lot, but he actually pointed out people always want to put romance above friendship, but really they're two different things that are equatable. And I'm thinking, like, with all my romances, one thing that I've always relied upon is I have a best friend I can fall back on, that I very much rely on to in a very deep emotional way. And I value that friendship, and I would never want it to change in any way, shape, or form. Well, ignore the fact that I'm not attracted to him, but, like, at the same time, it's like I wouldn't want to change it even if I were. It's like I value that friendship as the way that it is, and I wouldn't have it any other way. So when people, like, it made me realize I've been thinking about it the wrong way. I need to shift things around in my head when it comes down to the priority. Romance doesn't take priority. Friendship should be equatable. I think that's where a lot of people fall into that trap.
And a lot of,
especially when you try to go into friends to lover shit. So that's pretty much on the tin.
And a lot of people get hung up over, because they think that romance is just the next step, that there needs to be all of these extremely complicated parameters for romance, when that's not necessarily true. There's a lot more to romance than that, than just these various steps in order to make a romance happen. It's not an IKEA drawer that you build in a step-by-step fashion. It's simultaneously a lot more complicated than that, but also a lot more simplistic than that. And in order to have a good romance, either in or outside of fiction, you have to you have to look at it more like how you view every other friendship or relationship in a character's life.
Every relationship is between characters is going to be unique to them. That's how that works.
Yep.
Axerman says, apologies about my rambling on the toxicity of gay shipping in fandom. How odd is it to be burned out on gay ships and just want to see healthy ones? Dude, I don't blame you. There's a lot of ships that are pushed together. I mean, Korosami, we could probably talk about that one for ages. People talk about Katradora being poorly written. No, that's toxic, and I think, like, it's toxic, but I don't think it's poorly written. There's a difference. Admittedly, it's portrayed at the end as not as toxic as it probably should be. There's
I haven't seen past like season 2 of that show, so y'all be the judge of that.
Yeah, trust me, it's not God. They rushed the end of that show. There's Cat Vi, which seems it could be healthy, but it just hasn't been given time in the oven as much as it really should.
Yeah,
I'm trying to think off the top of my head more. I mean, if you want good examples of gay shipping or just gay relationships in general, there's some Yuri manga I could recommend you that are very good. Aoi Hana, or Blue Flowers, whichever you can find the name under. It's Aoi Hana, Hana, and Bloom Into You, both of which are excellent, just pure romances, but they also kind of have an unorthodox angle to it where they're tackling a lot of characters going through emotional issues and coming coming together, breaking apart, coming together, breaking apart, but in ways that feel not as melodramatic as some stories. If you want melodramatic, I recommend Yuri Is My Job. That's all melodrama all the time.
I would say basically anything from Clamp has really good, not only queer relationships, but just relationships in general. They're amazing at it.
You got to be careful with Clamp.
Yeah, you got to be careful with Clamp
because when did we have the talk about the school kid and the
that might have been the first stream.
Oh wait, yeah,
Clamp is weird.
I was thinking about like Ray Earth and
I haven't actually seen
Ray
Magic
Earth
Knight
is
Ray
really
Earth because I don't think that ever aired in Canada.
That is on our list. I've never seen it either, but when Critter did her video on it, I'm like, that seems interesting. Right up my alley.
I didn't watch the video because I didn't want to get spoiled. I'm sorry.
I didn't watch the video either. I didn't finish the video. I literally said that looks like something I want to watch, and I stopped it at like the 30-second mark.
I was so happy after we finished Magica because then I was like, oh, I could go watch all of Critter's videos now.
Yeah.
I need to watch that, but I've seen Ray Earth before. I've seen the first season. I need to finish the second season of it. But it's really
the romance,
fun,
the romance doesn't happen till. None of the romance happens till the second season, so you'll have to wait a while to get to it. But it's so good.
Batman had a field day about Catradora, and he's not wrong in his appraisal of things. Catra does some absolutely heinous shit in that show, like basically breaking reality.
Oh wow!
I was kind of curious about watching that show, but then I started hearing all this stuff, and I'm like, nah, I'm gonna miss.
The Owl House is, though it has issues in places. The Owl House has a pretty good relationship. If anything, the person you think is going to be the toxic part of the relationship ends up being the most wholesome and positive. Meanwhile, the one that you think is going to be the purest one is like, she has some issues that she really needs to work out and weren't quite addressed by the end of the show. Let's see. Oh, observing procrastinator. Yuri Is My Job is a slightly softer version of Peach Girl, but for lesbians. That's about it. If you want really melodramatic, Peach Girl. Peach Girl.
Oh yeah, I
love it, but I hate it.
I'm happy that you just love Peach Girl.
It's so melodramatic. I love Sai so much. She's so awful.
Yeah, she is an awful person.
I need to get into a right
want Yuri
headspace
manga.
to watch
I'd rather
that
just see
show.
stuff about actual romance and maybe just a goal to personally aspire to. That's my only issue with having some falling out with a boyfriend. I recommend those because they're not. It's weird. It is a romance between girls, but it's not about the Yuri necessarily, if you get my drift. Like, it's very much taken from the perspective of two characters falling in love. It is about the romance. Like, there is focus on it being lesbian and, like, social stigma, that kind of thing, but it's not... I don't know how to describe the difference in that. Like, it is Yuri, but it's not like what you would typically associate with Yuri, where it's kind of soft and fluffy or melodramatic or kind of hard-edged. I don't know how to describe it. It is an actual true to blue romance story, and it carries through. It does it very maturely. There's very little immaturity about those two stories. That's what I was going with it. There's very little immature about them. That's why I recommend them. And then you get Yuri Is My Job, where it's all melodrama, and it's a lot of fun in that field.
And I have nothing to contribute because I haven't watched a lot of shows with lesbian romances.
But if you want just romances in general,
I mean, we're in the same boat here.
Oh, is Toji no Miko? Yeah. Toji no Miko might be the one that has been recommended to me multiple times, and I tried reading it. I just can't get into it. It is so fucking bizarre. Or I can't remember if it was bizarre or if it was boring. It might have been both.
That's a worst combo.
Yeah, it's like the people think that like just because I am a Yuri manga aficionado means that I'll read everything. No, I have my limits. There are ones that I have tuned out on because they just haven't caught me. There are several Yuri manga that I have sitting in my tabs that I'm just like, I'll get back to them later, and I just never have because I haven't felt the urge to. Anyway.
Yeah, it's like me with mecha shows. Yeah, we need to finish Volume 3 now.
Yeah.
We do. I feel like we're only going to get through Volume 3, and it's only 15 minutes of footage.
We just had so much to talk about.
There's 2 minutes left. Oh, God. Okay.
Oh, V, Peach Girl was your first anime? Oh, that's great.
Wait, really? I don't know how to feel about that, given the things I've heard about it.
Just
I'm going to take your word, you guys.
Starting your first anime off with some wild ass shit.
Yeah, when you have attempted non-consent in a series, that's going to be a hard starting. Oh yeah, Peach Girl goes places, man.
Oh, it goes places. Yep.
Okay.
I don't know.
Also, new Dedirect start.
Oh my God. Oh God, what is this time?
Yes.
I'm scared. Oh, that is not what I was expecting.
Yeah, it's the.
It was exactly what I was expecting.
Well, I didn't expect it to be like golden or orange. I thought it was gonna be clear. I thought it was gonna be
now she looks like a bee.
Glasses.
Yeah, that's actually kind of that's cute.
Good job, dude.
Now we're not leaving.
Yeah, they really shouldn't have shaded Ruby's eyes that way. It just doesn't work for her very well.
No, we will find them.
But I'm not.
Oh my God, we're just
and then we just cut to Yang being not okay.
Well, we found them.
It's all gone. The school, Penny, Pyrrha, and
Yang, where are Weiss and Blake?
No, Yang's not gone, Ruby. Yang's here.
Why did you have such a long pause there?
Ruby just suddenly has no. Ruby just suddenly has no object permanent.
She just turns around. It's like, "What do you need, Dad? Oh my God, where's Yang?"
Yang, look on the bright side. Now you could really easily cosplay Ash from The Evil Dead. I'll get you a chainsaw.
Quick, say
groovy.
groovy.
Make a great Vash Stampede.
We'll have to flip the whole costume to the other side, but we can make that work. How good is your shooting arm in your left hand?
Yeah.
Actually, Yang could pull a Vash Stampede now that I think about it.
Weiss's father came for her.
I think maybe somebody made fan art of that.
Oh, phrasing.
No one outside of Vale knows what happened here. Before the
No, we're not in an Adel Alka video. All right, we're not one of those.
No, it just.
Am I the only one that
Kaiser?
I know.
With the book that I reviewed that I still have to edit. I don't know why I haven't started on editing that yet, but there's just because I talked to you about this. There was just so many phrasing choices in that book that was so questionable that I gotta wonder, like, was she aware of what she was writing?
Say best Yuri manga is even if it was just once, I regret it. Landlady moves in with her friend, game developer crush to collect alternative rent. I read that one. It was all right. It didn't really wow me necessarily with anything deep or emotional. So I wouldn't really call it the best. It was fine. It was fun, entertaining, but it didn't hold my interest. I read through it, but I just
Yeah, Peach Girl was the best to get into as a teenager. V, you're right.
I
don't know if Critter has ever watched Peach Girl.
No, I haven't.
Oh.
Okay, we're in the same boat, Critter. I've heard about this show forever. But
you two should watch it together.
Yeah.
You two get a little reaction going to Peach Girl. That would be amazing, because I think you two would have such...
if I can set up a live stream on my channel, we could probably do that.
You didn't
know. That would be great.
Yeah, I don't know how copyright would work with Peach Girl. That might be dangerous.
Damn it. Well, we can just watch it.
Yeah, you can record it and just throw it together a video with the copyright protection up.
Well, you can do a reaction to it with our Rahi tubers like this. I watch there's a lot of people who do reactions, like I've never watched Lord of the Rings, or I've never watched Harry Potter, or I've never watched Star Wars. And they can show like big chunks of the movies and stuff and their reactions to it, that kind of stuff.
It's so touch and go with what you can show and at some places.
Yeah.
And we can do like highlight cuts and reactions and shit. It's no big deal.
The main problem that Raymond usually has is that he wants to show as possible, and I keep saying like, you don't. You can't be precious with it.
Which reminds me, I need to ask Raymond how he does live streams and how he makes this stuff happen so I can do this shit.
Oh yeah, I can show you guys that after the stream, which will probably be, I imagine. If we're so slow through Volume 3, we're not going to Volume 4 tonight, and it's longer than Volume 3, the supercut, I'm pretty sure.
What?
What?
They're not in the same...
Remember my criteria.
As each other.
Critter, remember my criteria.
Okay.
My criteria was they could be thinking about one another, and there's a lot of scenes of both of them fucking sulking. So I'm
think
sorry
about these nuts, man.
No, because Dederex will fucking draw them, and it'll be gross and disturbing.
Me screaming, they're not in the same hemisphere as each other.
Alpine Gremlin, I'm glad you enjoyed that scene. That was definitely a recommendation of Jay, who animated most of that scene. He very much wanted that song in there, but like we had to work on the timing. But I also was there for that because I love using Halo music. It's just kind of few and far between at this rate.
That's what happened here. Before the tower fell, the last thing people saw was Atlas attacking innocent people and Grim destroying the city. Everyone's scared.
No. Where are Weiss and Blake?
Here we go.
Weiss's father came for her.
What? What do you mean?
Oh.
No one else.
I actually got it in the right place. Okay.
Here.
Ah.
Before the tower fell.
I thought we missed the Blake
last thing
scene.
People saw was Atlas
Blake part.
attacking innocent people and Grim destroying the city. Everyone's scared. No one knows who to trust.
Why?
So Weiss's
It would be nice to see this.
Where he thinks it's
yeah.
Ruby's problem is that it just does exposition for important parts. Oh, you didn't have to stop that.
Well, no,
I was just talking.
I was pausing for copyright to be sure.
Oh, okay, I was talking for copyright.
Also, Ruby does this so often, where the characters will say one thing and then we never see it, or we'll see one thing but they'll say the opposite.
Yep. Yeah. It's so frustrating, and it happens so often.
Oh my god, Josh Thomas Moore knew you were. I am surprised to see someone reference that ship. I'm going to say it. I honestly feel Hannah and Amanda from Little Witch had more of a build-up than Bumblebee, and that is only really based off of one scene in the game. Holy shit, man. That is a deep cut to reference. And you're not wrong!
It has a game?
Oh, it does. It's sadly bad.
Damn.
Like the thing is, I love Little Witch, and the game is really cool where like you can explore all of the school. You can explore the entire grounds of the school, and so you get to actually intimately know where locations are, where dorm rooms are, where everyone is in relation to each other. It fleshes out several of the characters and different little plot lines. You get to learn a lot about all the different background characters that have unique designs in the school. You get to learn about all of them. It's really cool in that way.
Shit.
It just sucks that the main gameplay loop is fucking atrocious. It is so repetitive, and eventually it gets fucking grindy as fuck. I love it. I hate it. It's a game I've never finished.
So what you're saying is I should look up the cutscenes on YouTube and be good with that.
Yeah, but there's going to be a lot of small cutscenes you have to look up too. I don't know how they're categorized. I never got to the mission that hinted that Hannah might have the hots for Amanda, but I know the fandom talks about it because I was curious one day. It's like, why does everyone ship these two together? I have my own little ship with Amanda. I like that ship. And then people are like, no, this happened. And I'm like, oh, okay.
Well, she.
And now I Sadly, the one that I initially shipped has fallen off because no one else ships it but me. And
isn't that so sad?
It is
sad when that happens.
Like I ship the jockey girl with the book nerd girl. Like, it's a good pairing. It functions. Admittedly, Amanda and Hannah has a
tale
really good,
as old as time.
It has a really good hot cold relationship because they're both very abrasive characters. There's a lot of energy there you could get off from the. It's just sadly like it's so popular in the fandom. Anyway,
I'm so glad that after I showed Raymond Slayers that he now ships my rare pair, because I sometimes feel like I'm the only person who ships Goddess because they have the best pairing, but because the show pairs Lena and Gowry and Zelgadis and Amelia together because it's funnier to have these really toxic relationships.
Why do they ship Amelia and Zelgadis? Why?
Because it's funny to have the younger girl do the Helga Pataki thing.
I know, it's just creepy.
Whoa.
It's just
what a reference.
Yeah.
My face is a reaction to Amelia X Zelgadis. That's Ruby face right there.
Yeah. Legitimately, there is a scene because Zelgadis is a chimera and his hair is wire, where he face palms into the table and some of his hair gets stuck and he has to rip it out and then he goes to bed. And Amelia says, I wonder if he's still going to be using that hair. Like a reference, like, oh, she's gonna make like an idol of him or something.
For the record, Slayers is a comedy, so like it gets away with a lot of shit but damn, it's disappointing when like there's, at the very least, I can sit comfortable knowing that my favorite ship doesn't have anything contradicting it whatsoever. So I'm happy in that. Philia X Zelos forever.
They're also the ship that has the most toxic things going on.
Oh, yes. One is literally, I think we've mentioned this on the last stream. I'm almost certain. One is literally an angel-bound dragon, and the other is literally a demon. It's like...
he's a monster, and the point, especially when you get Valgav in there, is that their relationships, no matter what way that you go for Philia getting with a guy, it involves a genocide.
Oh,
yeah,
it's great. It's great. Anyway.
Which okay, now I really need to watch this show.
Sun saw her go. After we got to the city, she just ran.
But why?
I don't know.
What are you doing with your hands, Ruby?
And I don't care.
There has to be a reason she...
No, there doesn't. Sometimes bad things just happen, Ruby.
See, this is what we call permanent emotional damage.
Yeah,
and
I was talking about
the
Blake.
kind of thing that make it less likely for somebody to jump into to your pants or something. I don't know.
I was talking about Blake earlier, kind of gaining a romantic interest in Blake out of guilt. This can be a bit of an Oedipus complex for Blake with Yang, because she already had this hang up with her mom. And now Blake is the only other person who has done this to her. And after all of this, so she gains some sort of, I don't know, weird, twisted interest in Blake because she was the one that got away, I guess.
As if nobody has ever made that connection before.
You can do whatever you want.
You can dance if you want to. You can leave your friends behind. If they don't leave you first, Ruby! I do
on that, Deadrex.
I do love that Ruby says "I love you" back to Yang. That's so wholesome.
Yeah.
Like that is
a nice one.
It's a rarity that you hear characters say "I love you" to each other. It feels, and like especially like a more shonen type show.
Yeah.
So it's just nice to hear it between these siblings. It's like, okay, I buy their relationship so far.
Well, in a shonen type show, that would be Aishiteru, and you can't say that just willy nilly.
Oh my god!
Which is why
don't remind me of that.
I
Don't
will
remind me.
feel all of my power to snuff.
My power to snuff.
Salem's just doing lines.
That's you wonder why her skin is white. Oh, cocaine, baby.
Cocaine's a hell of a drug.
I think that she is thinking about Blake here, but I don't think that it's anything positive.
Yeah, I was gonna say.
Yeah.
That or my mom is a bird.
Which
I don't know that.
Oh yeah, is Raven in the scene there? Or is it just a bird?
I think it's just a bird, but I don't know. Maybe it's crow.
Yeah.
Maybe.
Into their minds.
But yeah.
Maybe.
And that's it. That's literally it for Volume 3. Volume 4 is only slightly longer than Volume 3. Now, percentage-wise, it's actually about the same, I want to say. It actually might be less.
Because the volume's a lot longer, isn't it? No. No, it should only be one episode longer.
No.
But I guess the episodes were more consistently longer runtime.
Oh,
I
excuse me.
guess.
Walking down, making my way downtown. All right, so we got
Okay,
2 hours, 50 minutes, 40. So yeah, 2 hours, 50 minutes.
Yeah, this is
seconds.
lesser. This is slightly lesser.
Yeah, it's actually we can flip between them now. So I have it up.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's actually like almost just 9 point. It's like 0.6% difference in terms of time spent. Jeez. But we'll save that for next time because I know Critter didn't want to run super long this time around. And honestly, running for 5 hours is insane.
Yeah.
The fact that we did it last time was just absurd.
The past 2 times.
Yeah.
Like,
and then Kaiser and I had...
We were mad, man.
And then Kaiser and I had the book reading the next day.
Oh, God.
And that lasted for like 4 hours. Because I am very disorganized and I didn't know how I was going to do it. And I was just going off the top of my head and I had a physical book. I didn't have a PDF. I should have downloaded a PDF. I didn't.
Next time on Critter Ball Z. Oh man! So okay, what are our current?
I can't even run for 10 minutes.
What are our current thoughts of Bumblebee up through Volume 3? We finally finished all of Volumes 1 through 3, the first major arc of the show. What do we think about the nature of the relationship between Blake and Yang?
Not good.
I would say they took a step backwards. I would say they're questionably not even friends right now.
Yeah, I would definitely put all their friendship in question, hardcore right now. You need at least another deep dive scene like the one in Volume 2. That's lighting the candle, isn't it? That scene, is that it?
Yeah.
You need another lighting the candle scene, minimum, to do minor damage repair to this. But I think, honestly, what we've seen here should be a permanent rift between them. It should be a permanent... because of how things spilled out, Blake should be nervous about Yang because Yang was going down the path of Adam, but somehow she forgave her. And then Yang should be worried about Blake abandoning her because that's what her mother did. Like, she should have that massive complex. And she will.
Just swept under the rug.
And we'll see in Volume 6 how that goes.
All it takes is one 5-minute conversation.
Like, the the main problem that I have with the characterization of all of these characters, and this goes all the way back to Weiss in Volume 1, is that they don't actually deal with the problems. They just hand wave them and say, "Oh, I'm doing the mature thing and I'm just going to let it go." Well, I'm sorry, but letting things go doesn't automatically make you a mature show. It makes it seem like nothing actually matters.
It's like the inverse of all those fanfics that I've read. Like I've read a couple of My Hero fanfics that were very much like the minute that an emotional problem came up, everyone was immediately on the ball of like, well, this is wrong because of this or whatever. And it wasn't terribly written. Like it wasn't unreal. It was pushing the verge of unrealism, but it wasn't quite over the top to the great extent. But like characters are regularly getting therapy, people are regularly getting treated or trying to figure things out, and they're trying to be, very understanding of one another. When in reality, that's not. Life is a lot more messy like that, so it feels very unrealistic. RWBY is the inverse of that, where characters aren't addressing the problems, and they're just somehow still functioning.
And it's very frustrating because
this goes back.
Go ahead. No.
I think
I'm gonna use the restroom while you guys figure that out.
Okay. Sure. 1, 2, 3, go. Anyways, this goes back to what I've been saying for the past couple streams, which is that the problem is the lack of emphasis. When characters easily get over things in a story, it can communicate a lot of different things to your audience, right? The basic principle is, in regards to emphasis, is that the more you focus on something, the more you have your characters focus on something, the idea goes into the audience's head that it's important. When you have characters get over something relatively quickly, it usually communicates that either the character doesn't care about that thing for reasons that are established by their character, or the problem itself is just that petty and small. And what Blake and Yang are going through is not petty and small in the least fucking bit. So the idea that both of them got over these issues in such record time, and all it took is just a 5-minute scene for one of them, because again, I say this in my video, freaking Yang gets over all the crap that she has a problem with Blake in that conversation that she has with Weiss. And then if Blake didn't fuck up in the beginning of Volume 6 in that barn, she would be completely fine with her. There would be no change, because that's how easy they made it, and it's bullshit. And nonsensical. Also, new Dead Rex art.
Yes. I would say Versity's very frequently to me feels like they like attempting an idea, but then they don't know what to do with it once they've introduced it. And a lot of Bumblebee falls. A lot of the problems between the two of them feels that way.
Yeah.
Very much, they're like
it just applies to every single facet of the show.
Don't know what to do with it once you catch it. Yeah.
Also, we got some new art, Raymond.
Yeah, I heard. I'm scrolling down for it now. That is actually fucking amazing. I love that so much.
Make sure to show these on screen this time.
I did for the re-upload. I don't know how I'm going to do it here. I guess I can do that at the end here, sort of. I just don't want to get rid of all the hard work I had. But I was going to say
fair. We can do it in the
you can switch out maybe cast for the Discord.
Well, the thing is, like, if I change the Discord, it's going to unalign all of you guys.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, that's the problem. It's like it's not that I can't capture it. It's I
didn't know that it was so finicky.
Well, behold what happens. What happens when I simply pull up. I have you guys full screened. All right. I go to show chat. Watch the stream, whatever delay it is.
Okay.
I'm looking at it. Oh fuck! I paused the stream for whatever reason. Fuck.
Oh, I can't see it properly because Takara's in the way.
Yeah, that's what that looks like.
Hold on.
Also,
I'll see it after.
If you wonder why Kelpie is glitching out, it's because I'm lowering.
Oh my god!
I'm lowering Rahi Tuber below my screen, so it's like not reading properly. It's great.
Oh.
But yeah, that's what
oh
that
my
looks
god!
like.
Look at me.
I'll fix it. There we go. There. Now everything's safe and sound.
Now everything's safe and sound.
But yeah, I like Josh Thomas says both girls have triggered each other's traumas. Yang accidentally triggered Blake's trauma, and Blake purposely triggered Yang's. No, I don't even say purposely. She did it by virtue of just being weak-willed. And the thing is, there's room to explore that and still wind up at a romantic relationship. It just they are afraid of touching it because they don't know how to actually work through it themselves. They don't understand that they've basically scratched upon a very complicated psychological issue for both characters, and they're content to not even address it.
I would also say
because they don't want to kill their darlings.
Yeah.
That takes risks. Taking risks to actually have your characters be vulnerable and acknowledge what they did was fucked up, that takes a lot of shit. That takes a lot of balls that they don't have, apparently.
Also, a lot of, like, the people at Rooster Teeth talk a lot. They have their commentaries, they have a billion podcasts, they have their videos, they have whatever. I feel like very often they will talk about an idea and then will, like, forget that just because they've talked about it doesn't mean they've actually done it in the actual show itself.
Right.
I think that even like just because they mentioned it, that it's not good storytelling on our part just because we mention it in a commentary or a podcast or whatever, that doesn't mean that they still don't try and do that shit. Because a lot of fans, when they're arguing points, they refer not to the show, but to some sort of commentary or some sort of obscure interview that they had with somebody on some sort of podcast or show or whatever. And it's like, but
party media.
That doesn't matter. Like, that's not canon because it didn't appear in the show. Like, there's a difference between extracurricular stuff like the RWBY Remnant things and all that kind of stuff, and just having people talk about elements that they wished that they could put in the show, that it didn't appear in the show, so it's not part of the RWBY canon. I'm sorry, but it's just not. You can't tell your story just by talking about it. I know that I've talked about...
It's just not. Oh, hi, Mark.
I know that I've talked about Fractured Fairy Tales a lot, but just because I've talked about Fractured Fairy Tales doesn't mean that I've written a story. I know that Fractured Fairy Tales isn't a story yet because I haven't written it. As of right now, it's only in the planning stages. So I can't say, oh yeah, my story is so well written, because I haven't written anything yet for it. I have a single Google Sheets and a Ginkgo writer page for Fractured Fairy Tales, and that's it. That is all Fractured Fairy Tales is so far. It's just in the planning stages.
Yep.
That is what RWBY.
Wild...
That is what 20% of RWBY is. Honestly.
Yeah.
I say the only series I can think of that actually has canon extracurricular stuff I can think of is Kingdom Hearts via the orchestra clips with Terra and Naminé. Don't open the can of worms discussing how Kingdom Hearts distributes its content, because Jesus Christ, that is a whole conversation. That is a whole angry conversation.
Yeah. Well, I would also say that Digimon also kind of falls into that too, because the Wonder Swan games are canon to Season 2. And if you don't know anything about the plot of some of those Japanese-only video games, then you are not going to understand Ken's backstory.
Adam Zelke,
also, I think maybe Blaze Blue falls into that.
RT were just way too impatient to get their gay ship going. I don't even think that was the case because like they waited 3 years or 4 years even to get them together. They had time. They had the time. They just wasted it.
Yeah.
But again, we'll get to that when we get to volume 6, particularly.
Just a quick note that I don't think that it's necessarily a bad thing to have important plot details in other things other than your show, like in a book or in a video game or something. But the main problem is that if you're going to do that, it needs to be easily accessible to everybody. So like the main problem with the plot thing in Digimon, for example, is that it was a Japanese only video game. It never came over to the States.
Yep.
It never came anywhere outside of East Asia. So that is a problem.
The another good example of this is there's actually Nier Automata has a canon stage play that only ever ran in Japan for a limited time.
Oh yeah, I heard about that.
Yep.
Like
Granted,
Yoko
they
Taro
did
is fucking
technically
insane.
fixed that with the Nier Automata. Yes. Although, technically, I forget. I think they added the plot line from that stage play into the Nier Automata anime at a certain part.
Oh, they probably
So
did.
at least now we have an easily accessible section of that story, if it's the one I think you're talking about.
Is it A2?
But yeah, without that, that would be nuts.
Was it
Yes.
2A? 2A, is that her name? Sorry, 2A. Yeah.
No, well, that was her former
2B?
name.
No. 2B is the main character, but there is a character called 2A.
Oh.
Yeah.
To be or not to be, that is the
our
question.
bad.
That's the joke. There's 9S, there's 21O and 9O, I want to say. No, 6O. 6O.
Yeah, 9O.
6O is the one that I ship with
I
ship with 2B. I think they're really cute and it's really sad what happens. That Nier Automata is a sad game.
Nier is a sad dude. The Draken Nier series is sad.
Okay,
shit. I played
okay.
Nier
No, the
Replicant.
farther you go
It's
back, it goes from
brutal.
sad to just downright depressing to outright horrifying. Because I mean, Drakengard is the game where you play as a mass murderer, a CP enthusiast, we'll say. Yeah, a cannibal that eats children, and a child psychopath that has a golem that smashes people.
Yes.
The
Are
dragon.
you sure this isn't Cage of Eden?
No, I'm pretty sure this is all Yoko Taro Drakengard.
I'm making a
Wait,
joke
I heard
that
very little about Cage of Eden. Is that what happens?
in Cage of Eden, which is a manga about kids who get stuck inside the Japanese or the Asian Bermuda Triangle, and they land on an island where there are dinosaurs and shit, and they have to survive. And there are 3 pedophiles that are named after characters from Gundam Wing for some reason.
I've been corrected. It is A2.
I know what you're talking about. Yeah.
I have been corrected. Her name is A2.
Yeah, and they are manipulated by this 8-year-old boy who was hired to pretend to be a girl, and he uses his sex appeal in order to manipulate them to do his bidding.
Bye, V. Nami Nominam's Drakengard 1 is insane. Drakengard 3 isn't nearly as bad, but it still features a lot of the similar tropes. I mean, everyone in Drakengard 3 is like a complete horn dog. Understandably, but like they're because of how that story is fucked up. For the record, 2 and 4 are my favorites. Because the characters in that game are named by numbers, which it should have been a hint to how Nier Automata would wind up. But whatever. Drakengard is also the hack and slash action series that ends both the secret endings that turn out to be canon in Drakengard 1 and Drakengard 3 are rhythm mini games.
On one of the hardest rhythm games ever.
Yeah, including a part where the game blanks out your screen completely, so you can't see any visual stimuli, and you have to fucking guess the time in the song that you have to hit the button. you're not going to guess it the first time. It's just going to lose you the game, and you're going to have to, and you have to restart from the very beginning because Yoko Taro is a fucking sadist. I have not played these games. I am too scared to play them. I want to put I've read a full Let's Play. By the way, Dark Id Let's Plays, very entertaining reads. Highly recommend them. Dark Id, look him up.
Yeah.
Anyway, we're winding down now. Thank you all so much for joining us. This has been.
Thank you.
I was going to say M3D. He says, as it's one of his last super chats here, gotta play self-defense is one of Yoko Taro's strongest gobblers. Automata is pretty self-contained, in my opinion, because you only have to play the game to experience one of the greatest stories and endings in storytelling. Slow your roll. I don't think it's... I mean, it's great. I don't know if it's mind-bendingly world-ending.
It's a great game.
It's a great game. I don't know if I would go that far.
But you are right in terms of you don't need that much information about it beforehand to understand it.
That story helps you understand one of the characters. It doesn't mean you don't understand her when you play as her in the game or see her in the game. Because you learn enough about her to understand her.
Yeah.
And about all the shit going down in...
Which is how you should do these things.
Yeah. Yeah, it's... The side material is extra context that helps you further enrich your understanding of the original. That's how it should be done. It should not be a supplement for we didn't have time to put this shit in. Let us give you this off to the side. Hi, I'm looking at you, Final Fantasy 15. That had to end its entire storyline in a book. I love Final Fantasy 15. It has arguably the best villain in any Final Fantasy game. I will fight you, Sephiroth stands, and frickin' fans of Kuja. Not Kuja, sorry.
Kefka?
Kefka, that's what I'm thinking of.
Oh.
Well, Kuja has a fandom too. I will fight you, fans. Arden is the best Final Fantasy villain, bar none. Anyway,
he is very good.
Just because, that doesn't mean the game is good though. The game is such a fucking mess.
I've only played Final Fantasy X, so
yeah.
At least he's not Seymour. Fucking antler.
Yeah.
Anyway. Yes, we're winding down now. Thank you all so much for joining us. I hope you had a good time. I love these streams. Do you guys think next Monday will work again?
Yeah.
Yeah. Maybe.
Hopefully.
Maybe.
We'll try and make a more regular time so we can actually get through these at a decent pace.
Yeah.
You all have been a lovely audience. Yeah.
Yes, thank you all. Thank you all so much.
Any parting thoughts, anyone?
Nope. Just I wish that Yang and Blake weren't toxic girl bosses.
Alrighty. Well, we'll catch you all.
Also, the moral of the wait, you forgot about the art. Actually, we'll just do that.
I can't do the art.
See y'all later.
Yeah.